72 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Head coach Willie Simmons said this was probably the most complete game this team has had.
And they played their best football in that game against Florida, against Prairie View A&M University last week, and they put it all together. They had a great running game, great passing game, and when you can have both of those things work well for you, plus your defense is playing outstanding, you can't say enough about how well that team played last week.
On the other side of the field, of course, for Alabama A&M, Xavier Langford is going to be the key at quarterback for this Bulldog football team. Langford, of course, not the game that he wanted to have against Alabama State in the Magic City Classic last week, but nonetheless, 231 yards and a touchdown interception against the Hornets last week.
And when you talk about Xavier Langford, he's a guy that's a dual threat quarterback, Santoria. He can actually do it both ways. Well over 900 yards on the season, 8 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, 300 yards rushing this year to go along with 5 touchdowns. He scored a touchdown last week against Alabama State. And I tell you what, when you look at him, he had a great game against Grambling State University where 17 carries, 193 yards, and a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, he is definitely a dual threat. When you look at this Alabama A&M football team, you've got basically a triple option if you really want to look at it like that. For Alabama A&M, you've got Xavier Langford at quarterback, Donovan Eaglin, first team all-conference, and then Ryan Murrow. He had 18 carries, 191 yards, and 3 touchdowns against Lane College. Also was the player of the week in that game.
When you talk about this Bulldogs football team, you got to get Donovan Eaglin going because he's an explosive football player. When he gets going, everything around that Bulldogs offense gets going, and it goes tremendous. He only had 21 yards last week against Alabama State, so one of the worst performances he's had this particular season. If they're going to be successful, the Bulldogs are going to be successful, Eaglins has got to get going today.
And it all starts with the offensive line for Alabama A&M senior line. Last week had a few changes there, but you could tell that Alabama State defense really did a lot to try to stop that run. And of course, on the other side, you know, you talk a little bit about the players that are going to be big, and you start with Jamari Sheard, Isaiah Major, these impact players, brought to you by GM.
Jamari Sheard is actually an outstanding player. Had 4 catches last week for 72 yards and a touchdown. He's a Texas tough guy. If the Bulldogs are going to be successful, they're going to have to make sure they know where Sheard is and actually come up with tackles.
And of course, Isaiah Major, the linebacker, and on the other side, you got Zarion, defensively one of the best players in the conference for Alabama A&M, and then Donovan Eaglin. He is going to be a key in this ball game for the Bulldogs. We are just about ready here on Senior Day and, of course, Military Appreciation Day here on the Hill.
And when you talk about Isaiah Major, he's a guy that plays with reckless abandonment. He doesn't mind throwing his body all the way around, and he's a great player.
Keys to the game sponsored by GM.
For the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, the Bulldogs must take care of the football. They must have great special teams play. That was something that hurt them last week, and they must minimize the explosive plays of the FAMU football team.
Of course, 2 special teams touchdowns last week for Alabama State against these Bulldogs. One, of course, McMinn on a punt return, and then, of course, a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. 14 of those points coming on special teams. That's going to be very important for this Alabama A&M football team not to make mistakes. Just about ready for kickoff here between Alabama A&M and Florida A&M from here on the Hill in Huntsville, Alabama. Always an exciting time here in Huntsville, and just about ready for kickoff. And for the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, Victor Barbosa, 6-foot redshirt sophomore, will kick off in this ball game. And back for Florida A&M, Marcus Riley and Jamari Gassett. And we are underway here in Huntsville, Alabama. And it'll come down at about the 20-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 for the Florida A&M Rattlers, and they've got to get started offensively very quick here, set the tone in this ball game.
And that's what you want to do if you're the Rattlers. You want to make sure that you come out and actually make the Alabama A&M defense actually have to work. One of the things that they do extremely well, they being Florida A&M, they do a great job up front protecting Jeremy Musa, who continues to have a great season. He has over 2,000 yards throwing the football this year.
154 completions, 17 touchdowns against 7 interceptions. Big game last week against Prairie View A&M. And There you see right away this Alabama A&M defense with the calls right now. And they will do some shifting before the snap. FAMU getting things started from their own 20-yard line. Here is the run and minimal gain on this play. And on the carry for Florida A&M is their running back. And it'll be second down.
And you're talking about a trio of running backs here at Florida A&M University. So you can see any one of those guys in and at the game. But the biggest guy that they have and they want to use is a guy by the name of Jennings, who's 5'11", 230 pounds.
Second down now for Florida A&M, just underway here at Lewis Cruz Stadium in Huntsville, Alabama. They call it the Hill. Here is the give. That's going to be Kelvin Dean Jr. Gets big yardage on second down out past the 30-yard line. It will be second, or it should be first or third down here for Florida A&M.
Just a great job up front by Florida A&M running the ball off of the right side of that offensive line. That's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to create running lanes for their running backs if they're going to be successful against this Bulldog defense.
And Musa with the throw. And it is complete just past the 35-yard line. The extra effort gets a few more yards and near a first down, and it will be a first down for Florida A&M. And also you can see Musa with the clap, and we talked with Coach Willie Simmons, and one of the things he spoke about was we have a different kind of cadence. We go on the clap, not on the call.
And that's something that you definitely see a lot more in college football, and even on the high school level, is that you're starting to see the cadence of the players change over the time. And so the clap is what everybody is going on now. Musa does a great job of making sure his guys can actually move when they're supposed to move.
First down here for Florida A&M, just on the other side of the 40-yard line. Lots of movements. Here is the give. Great job by Alabama A&M defensively stopping that play. And that'll bring up second down. Kelvin Dean Jr. with the carry, and we've got a penalty. Personal foul, face mask, and that will go against Alabama A&M. And that will give Florida A&M 15 yards. And Ossie, this is something that they were plagued with in that game against Alabama State. Starting on offense, they had a mound of penalties early on.
And that's something that you cannot afford in a game of this magnitude, is to give up yardage. That's one of the things that Coach Maynard actually talked about, was minimizing the big plays. Well, one of the ways you can get big plays in a football game is by giving the other team extra yards, and that's a 15-yard penalty that helps this Rattler offense that's already an outstanding offense.
So now the Rattlers in Alabama A&M territory. Early on in this ball game, Musa looking, he's going to go deep, trying to find an open receiver. Touchdown, Florida A&M. Marcus Riley on the catch for the Rattlers, and the Florida A&M Rattlers on the board, 6-0.
Great job by this Rattler offensive line of giving Jeremy Musa outstanding time to set up and throw this pass. Play action pass that they used that time, set it up perfectly, and had his man Marcus Riley running the go route. He was wide open and was able to walk into the end zone for the big six.
Extra point try coming up. Michael Smith, the 5'11 freshman, on to kick. And that is something that if you are Alabama A&M's defense, you did not want early on. One of the keys to the game, you can't give up those explosive plays.
And that was one of the things that Coach Cornell Maynard said that he wanted to minimize, and right off the bat, the Rattlers were able to get on the board with a huge play. Over 45 yards on that touchdown.
Here is the extra point try. It is up, and it's good. Timeout on the field, 12:25 remaining here in this first quarter of play. Florida A&M on the board first here in Huntsville. Florida A&M on top 7-0 over Alabama A&M, 12:25 remaining here in this first quarter of play. This ball is kicked out of bounds, and Alabama A&M will start first down and 10 at the 25-yard line. Honestly, when you start looking at that initial drive by Florida A&M, they were able to mix it up. Good running with the football, Kelvin Dean Jr. getting involved, and then you see the passing game opened up a little bit more. Long pass down the field to Marcus Riley.
But the biggest thing that happened on that particular drive that helped the Rattler offensive unit was the 15-yard penalty that happened against the Bulldogs. And so you can't give up yards if you're the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. And when you put Jeremy Musa in that position, he can put the ball on the money, and he does. He finds Marcus Riley down the field.
A&M with the ball, first down and 10, 12:25 remaining here in the first quarter of play. From here at Lewis Crew Stadium, 7-0 our score. Quick pass to the outside is incomplete. And that will bring up second down. Alabama A&M #1 in offense in the SWAC. Xavier Langford, he's 79 of 140, almost nearly over 900 yards, 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions this year. Langford will need a big day. His big numbers really rushing the football. Third on the team in rushing, 347 yards on the ground this season. 4 receivers set. Langford. And a minimal gain, maybe a loss of a yard on the play. And it'll bring up third down.
Notice what Langford did on that particular play. He was able to check down and actually find somebody. That's something that the coaching staff at Alabama A&M talked about this week. It's not waiting for something to happen down the field and allowing these defensive linemen to get in his face. If there's a check down, take the check down, take the positive play.
Third down and 11. And sack back in the backfield, and Florida A&M all over this play. And you can credit that sack to number 17, Dakar Edwards, the defensive lineman, graduate student from Staten Island, New York.
Florida A&M defensively on the defensive front is probably one of the best defensive linemen, defensive line groups in the country, and not only in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. They are 3 deep at every position on that defensive line. And when you have guys that can go after the football and put pressure on the quarterback, move him off of his spot like they are able to do on that particular play, which looked like a draw play that Alabama A&M was trying to run, they were able to collapse that pocket and make Langford run right into their defensive presence.
There you see Coach Willie Simmons and the Florida A&M Rattlers coming over to the sideline. Injured player down on the field. All right, last time that these two teams played, of course, you know, Florida A&M won 38-25. A&M ruled as far as rushing yards, but look at all those passing yards for Florida A&M.
And when you look at the passing yards, it's primarily because that's what Jeremy Musa does so well. He's able to distribute the football down the football field to those wide receivers who are very talented on that football team. The one thing that they had a problem with over the last couple of years, and in this football game against Alabama A&M over a year ago, is that they put the ball on the ground. The Rattlers do not want to make the same mistakes that they made a year ago, which made the game as close as it was.
And you see the time of possession, Alabama A&M really keeping that football, but at the end of the day, time of possession can be a little bit skewed because it just depends on where the football is and how the team is moving the ball offensively. Punting situation, and this is going to be another special teams faux pas. Alabama A&M gives up the ball to FAMU deep inside their own territory.
It was a jailbreak. It was a breakdown from the beginning. As soon as that ball was snapped, there were several Rattlers in the backfield that time, putting their hands up and being able to knock down the punter on that particular play. Give a lot of credit to this Rattler football team for coming out with a lot of intensity and emotion and getting the block right up the middle of the field that time. Boom! Look at that hit.
And really no shot at getting that kickoff, or getting that punt off, I should say.
And you give Florida A&M a short field to work with an already potent offense. This is not boding well for the Bulldogs.
Jalen Howard was back there, the redshirt freshman help stop that. And now Florida A&M with the ball, first down and 10 at their own, at the Alabama A&M 10-yard line. And a nice stop on first down, loss of 5 yards on the play. It'll be second down. It looks like it'll be second and goal. It's just inside the 10-yard line is where the ball was marked to start the drive.
And give a lot of credit to that A&M football team and the defensive end for setting the edge that time. Knew that it was a sweep, read the play, was able to string it out and make the tackle in the backfield. That's what those defensive ends are going to have to do against the sweep play all day long if that's what Florida A&M wants to do.
Xavier Billingsley on the tackle, one of the seniors. Call him the X-Man. Honored today here at Lewis Cruz Stadium. Here is Musa. Pass out to about the 15-yard line. Gain of just a little on that play. And for Alabama A&M on the tackle is Imari Pate. He is one of the defensive stars of this team. Redshirt sophomore from Culver City, California. Transferred from Fresno State. And
Pate did a very good job of being able to put his foot in the ground and actually come up and make that tackle, because that was a screenplay that Florida A&M was trying to set up on the far side of the football field. Great job by the defense being able to react and actually get to the football as quickly as they did.
Musa back to pass. Musa looking downfield, going into the end zone. It is incomplete. That pass was intended for Terrell Jennings, the running back, also used as a wide receiver, graduate student from Duval, Florida. Jennings, of course, when you talk with head coach Willie Simmons, really has improved over the last few weeks. And a lot of that has to do with the improvement of the offensive line in blocking.
And that's one of the things that Coach Simmons talked about. He gives a lot of credit to Coach Henry, the offensive line coach, for actually getting these guys to step up and play better. They're coming off the ball more explosive, flat backs, everything of that magnitude.
32-yard field goal attempt by Florida A&M. The kick is up. It is good. Timeout on the field. 9:53 remaining here in this first quarter of play. It is 10-0. The Florida A&M Rattlers on top here in Huntsville. Senior Day here on the Hill.
Moments due to falling hydration levels. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
We are exactly what you think. We are not at all what you think. We are past,
because
and
there are certain things that you can't see.
one.
We're just pacing ourselves right now, just to make sure that
because the best way to honor our history is to make history. General Motors, honored to sponsor the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
Doritos created Solid Black in 2021 to help fuel the initiatives of Black leaders seeking to drive real change. And this year, Doritos Solid Black is welcoming 16 new change makers to the program. We are Solid Black.
Huge play coming up.
Talking about dropping the ball.
I got the score.
Tostitos Hardy Dippers.
In 1920, an athletic league was formed and slowly became one of the leading sports associations in the world of collegiate athletics, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Today, the SWAC is looking towards the next century, growing, supporting, and transforming our intercollegiate sports activities for student athletes and promoting academic excellence. Each SWAC member institution represents a high level of integrity and sportsmanship. We are the SWAC, building champions for life.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
Alabama A&M fans, with a $5 donation,
and support the marching maroon and white band in the 2023 Macy's Day Parade. Just text MMW 2023 to 50155 to get started. It's a great day for the Alabama.
Back in Huntsville, Alabama, Lewis Cruz Stadium. Santoria Black along with Ossie Clark bringing you today's Eastern Division clash between the Bulldogs and the Florida A&M Rattlers. Alabama A&M right now trailing here at home 10-0 to Florida A&M. And a lot of this is just because you had a bad special teams play, similar to what happened last week, twice against Alabama State. And then, of course, an explosive play, two things that were in the keys of the game. First down and 10 for Alabama A&M. And a fumble. And it looks like Donovan Eaglin gets the ball back.
That was the first time that we've seen so far in this football game where the Bulldogs actually were going to use the RPO, and it looked as if Langford wanted to pull it and keep it that time, and so the exchange from the quarterback to the running back was a little askew.
Pass out to, it's going to be out to Cameron Young. And Young may have to come out of the game if the helmet came off while in play.
And that looked like Eric Smith was the guy who actually came up and made the tackle for Florida A&M. Did a great job of being able to come up as quickly as he did and was able to make that hit. That's how you play football. When you're a defensive back, you got to be able to react much quicker than you normally would when they're throwing screen passes to try to manipulate the defense.
Langford back to pass, looking, trying to find something open. And Langford sacked in the backfield.
The Dark Cloud defense is doing exactly what they've been able to do all year long, which is put pressure on the quarterback. This is a base 4-2-5 defensive unit that you will see being played by Florida A&M. They don't blitz an awful lot. They rely heavily on their defensive line to step up and actually get pressure in the backfield. And that time, Langford had nowhere to go with the ball, couldn't step up, had to take the sack. And it also looks like Langford is hurt on this play.
Yeah, it looks like he's holding his wrist, and we're going to keep an eye on that because that could be a developing issue for Alabama A&M. Here is the punt, nearly another block here that doesn't go hardly anywhere. It's gotten by Florida A&M, return all the way inside.
Touchdown?
The 5. Is it a score? It's going to be a score.
Oh my goodness.
Florida A&M scores, and another special teams play for Florida A&M, and they're now on top 16-0.
And you just mentioned it a few moments ago, Santoria, that was one of the keys of the game for Coach Carnell Maynard and his Alabama A&M Bulldog football team was to have great special teams play. He knew that he was going to have that from his specialty unit. This time, that kick was partially blocked.
And it's recovered at about the 20-yard line and then run into the end zone. And now it's going to be an extra point try here for Florida A&M. Here is the kick. And it is good. 17-0 is our score. Florida A&M now on top of Alabama A&M here with 7:48 remaining in the first quarter of play. 7:48 remaining here in this first quarter of play. Florida A&M now on top by the score of 17-0. Special teams play, of course, the second bad special teams play of the day. First one, of course, you get a big block, and then a second one, of course, you get a touchdown. The last touchdown that they had 3 plays on that, but I tell you what, it's really been a tough game so far defensively for, I should say, special teams-wise for Alabama A&M.
And it has been a very tough day because of this Rattler football team and how well they can play on the defensive side of the football. Give a lot of credit to Coach Ryan Smith and his staff for being able to get this team up and ready to go defensively every single week.
It goes out of the end zone, and we will have Alabama A&M come out to the 25-yard line on the touchback. And if you're Alabama A&M, one of the things that you're going to have to do is get something started offensively.
And it all starts with you settling down. And that's something that Langford's going to have to tell his guys offensively, hey guys, we need to settle down and actually get something going consistently in this football game. If we settle down and make the plays that we're capable of making, then we can move the football against this dark cloud defensive unit. But so far, we have not seen that from this Alabama A&M football team.
Back to pass, the quarterback escapes pressure, gets across the 25-yard line. New quarterback in the ball game, Quincy Casey, the JSU transfer in the ball game. Now Xavier Langford is on the sideline. He was holding his wrist after that last offensive series. And so now Quincy Casey, the Jackson State transfer, in the ball game for Alabama A&M.
But the defensive front for the Rattlers are just doing an outstanding job of controlling up front what's going on. That made Quincy have to step up that time.
Casey looking, trying to find an open receiver, and it is, they say it's going to be caught. No, it's going to be incomplete. And that'll bring up third down now for Alabama A&M. And last thing that you want to do here is you do not want a 3 and out.
No, that's been the nature of the game, the entire game for the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. And so right now, you want to be able to get something that will give you a little bit more breathing room. You've already had 2 special teams mistakes. You cannot afford a third when you're already down 17 points.
Well, Quincy Casey will go into the shotgun here on third down. Nearly lost the ball. He is going to go downfield deep, and it is incomplete. And there's the flag.
I was going to wonder for just a second if the flags were going to come in on that particular play. Great job that time by Casey to get the ball off of the ground because it wasn't a great snap at all. Picked it up, was able to step up in the pocket and make a deep throw down the field.
Jacoby Hewitt was the intended receiver. There, and of course, defender was all over him. And it'll be first down and 10. So, look, any way that you can move the football at this point is great.
You got to take it however you can get it at this particular point. And that way the Bulldogs were able to get the ball down the field. They move it now to the 41-yard line.
7:03 remaining here in this first quarter play. Great run on first down. Donovan Eagling getting across the midfield stripe.
And you have to give a lot of credit to the left side of the offensive line, doing a great job in their one-on-one blocks, able to open up the hole off of the left side, which picked up positive yards for the Bulldogs.
6:46 now remaining here in this first quarter play. This pass is incomplete. It was intended for Keenan Hambrick, the wide receiver. It looked like he was open.
Hambrick would have had nothing but space in front of him. He had 2 blockers that were there to make the blocks on the defensive backs. All he had to do was make the catch, get up the field, and pick up positive yards. That's something else that you have to talk about in this game that you can't afford. You can't afford to drop simple passes like the quick screens or the hitches, things of that magnitude in this football game, because those are the plays that are going to make big differences against this dark cloud defense.
Second down and 10 now for Alabama A&M. Casey going downfield. It is caught. Great job on the catch by Jacoby Hewitt. And a first down for Alabama A&M.
The offensive line must have had a come-to-Jesus meeting on the sideline with the offensive staff and coaches about what they needed to do. That was a great pocket for the quarterback to be able to step up and to make that throw down the field.
Jacoby Hewitt, 4th on the team in receiving yards. Incomplete pass there on first down, and Alabama A&M will bring it up second down and 10, 6:11 remaining here in this first quarter of play. And there you see Jacoby Hewitt.
You're seeing a better rhythm from the Bulldogs offensively right now. And you have to give Casey a lot of credit for coming in, being cold on the sideline, and actually helping the Bulldogs find this rhythm where they're moving the football.
And now Alabama A&M will go 4 receiver set now. Here's Casey. And it's going to be complete. It will be short of the first down to Jacoby Hewitt, the transfer from Florida International.
Great job of just finding the wide receiver, running the comeback route on the sideline that time. He's doing a great job of just working the defensive back.
Casey completed pass at the 20-yard line. And on that particular play, Jacoby Hewitt actually took a couple of steps back.
And I'm not sure if he's going to pick up the first down on this particular play, because initially he had the first down. He ran backwards on the play, and I think they did give it to him.
They gave him the first down and 10 for Alabama A&M, methodically moving the ball. Here is Donovan Eaglin, first team All-SWAC member, gets inside the 10-yard line. First and goal, Alabama A&M.
Look at the rhythm. They're moving very quickly. Great job up front by the left side of the offensive line. A big left tackle could have easily been put in a bad position.
Incomplete to Jacoby Hewitt on that play. And that'll bring up a second down and goal just inside the 10-yard line. And this is something that Alabama A&M talked about during practice this week. We've got to move the football. You know, the run opens up the pass, and so now you can see them starting to move the football, and we've got a timeout on the field.
I wonder if that's a Florida A&M timeout.
It'll be second down when we come out of the timeout. Less than 5 minutes remaining here. About 5:05 now remaining here in this first quarter play. 5:05 left in the first quarter.
You have not seen a blitz package as of yet from Florida A&M. It's just been 4 guys lining up, going after the football. They've just been trying to bull over the offensive line of Alabama A&M. But this particular possession, we have seen where the A&M Bulldogs are doing a much better job staying on their blocks, staying flat back, coming off hard, making those initial blocks, and then that gives Eaglin a chance to find open space and pick up positive yards. We talked about it a moment ago where it is going to be necessary for this A&M team to find a rhythm. They have found that rhythm on this particular possession by being able to run the football and mix it up with the short passing game.
Well, Eaglin only had 21 yards rushing in that last game against Alabama State. Much better today. Touchdown, Alabama A&M. Great throw, great catch. LeVar Gums with the touchdown, and the Bulldogs are on the board.
Good job that time by the Alabama A&M Bulldogs to be able to find the wide receiver who was underneath, comes all the way under, running a slant-in pattern. He was wide open.
You can see it once again. Here's Casey. And he was just open. There was nobody around.
And it's man-to-man coverage that time for Florida A&M.
Extra point try is up, and it is good. So the Bulldogs get on the board here with 5:02 left in the first quarter of play. 17-7 now our score. And if you're the A&M offense, this is exactly what you need. Back here on the hill in just a minute.
As well as FAMU.
17-7 our score. Alabama A&M getting on the scoreboard. And this is what you need. You need something to really get the crowd into the game.
And especially on a day like today where it's senior day, you need the crowd to actually help you to find that energy to play against this Rattler football team, who's an outstanding football team. But this particular drive was the best drive of the football game for Alabama A&M. Trip set on the far side of the football field, able to run that slanting pattern against that man-to-man defense. It was all predicated because the offensive line did an outstanding job of keeping the down 4 from getting in the backfield.
They have to reset the ball as it blew off the tee. Great weather here in northern Alabama. Of course, Huntsville, right at the foothills of the Appalachians. Really hilly area, but tell you what, beautiful country around here. This ball comes down to Florida A&M at about the 15-yard line and returned out to the 25. And return for Florida A&M will be Kareem Burke, the redshirt freshman from Jacksonville. And it'll be first down and 10 for FAMU. Now, if you're A&M on defense, now you got to come out and you've really got to establish your defense.
When you go back a couple of possessions ago and you look at what Alabama A&M was able to do on the short field against Florida A&M University, it was the first time that they were able to move Jeremy Musa off of his spot, and he was able to made him throw an incomplete pass. Let's see if Alabama A&M can do the same thing on this particular possession to try to move Musa off of his spot.
And this is a catch at the 45-yard line. A fantastic throw and catch. And on the reception, Kobe Gross, the tight end from San Ramon, California, transferred from Florida State.
Gross did a great job of being able to get one-on-one coverage against the linebacker, and he was able to put a move on and run right up the seam, picking up the A&M first down.
Musa back to pass, and it looks like it may have been intercepted. Alabama A&M may have been able to come up with a big play, and for the Bulldogs, Caleb Dawson, the defensive back, transfer from Appalachian State. I think he came up with the football, and this one was tipped and right into the hands of the defender, and that's Dawson. Man, what a huge catch defensively.
That was not a great throw from Jeremy Musa whatsoever. He threw that ball a little bit too far out in front of his wide receiver. His receiver tried to get a hand on it, and usually you tell your receivers, hey, if you put your hands on it, you're supposed to catch it. But that's one of those passes that nobody is going to be able to catch, especially a wide receiver, because he was trying to stretch out to try to make that play with one hand. It gets tipped, and then it gets tipped into the hands of a defensive back for Alabama A&M, and the Bulldogs start this possession in great field position.
Casey will keep the ball, but actually he's back to pass now. Going downfield, looking for the open receiver. Caught. Touchdown, Jacoby Hewitt for Alabama A&M. The wide receiver from Memphis, Tennessee, with the big 6. And Alabama A&M trying to come within 3 points.
There's nothing fancy about this. This is just old football. That's a fly route by the wide receiver on the outer half that time. Give a lot of credit to Casey for stepping up like he was going to run the ball, then took a step back and found his wide receiver one-on-one down the field for the big 6.
Extra point try coming up here for Alabama A&M. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it is good. Timeout on the field, 17-14 now. Alabama A&M coming back in this ball game, 14 unanswered here in this first quarter, and it has been eventful here so far.
It definitely has been an eventful football game at this particular point for Alabama A&M University. Great job. This is how you rebound after having a couple of bad possessions in this football game, and you were trailing by 17 points. Now you're only down by 3.
And that's exactly what the doctor ordered. This offense has really stepped things up. And when you start looking at some of these numbers for Florida A&M, or for Florida A&M and for Alabama A&M, what's really impressive is just how they've been able to come from behind. Quincy Casey, after coming in for Langford, who's up 5 for 9, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Eaglin, he's rushed for 22 yards, already more than he did last week. Hewitt, 4 catches, 71 yards and a touchdown. Here is the kickoff, and it'll come down to Florida A&M. And it'll be returned out past the 40 and out past the 45-yard line. Let's see where they call him out of bounds at. But a great return by Florida A&M. That is Jeremiah Pruitt from Atlanta, Georgia, transfer from Colorado State.
Notice that what you're seeing from Alabama A&M on the special teams side is not to kick the ball deep down the field. They're trying to kick it short, and that way their guys can rally to the football as quickly as they possibly can to stop Florida A&M from having big yards. This time, the return man Cruz was able to get across the 45-yard line for Florida A&M.
Well, even though Donovan Eaglin has 22 yards rushing, Langford and McCready, they both lost a combined 23 yards. So technically, Alabama A&M, no rushing yards in the ball game.
Wow.
And 2 for Florida A&M.
How often can you say that in a football game with teams that are like the Rattlers and the Bulldogs?
Definitely different. Musa hands the ball off across the 45 up near the 48-yard line. Great run on first down.
Seeing a little chippiness go on amongst these teams. You got to like that. You got to like to see the fight in both of these football teams. They're coming after each other, and now Alabama A&M has a sense of renewed pride because they're only down by 3 points, and it's still in the first quarter.
Second down and 6 now. There you see Musa will get under center. Well, he's got some big buffet busters up front. Musa, nice fake on the handoff, and he throws incomplete. And that'll bring up third down and 6 now for Florida A&M. 3:17 remaining here. And, you know, if you are the Bulldogs, your last offensive drive, you produced another 7. Your defensive stand here, your third down. This is where you need to get Florida A&M off the field. And Coach Simmons said this last week. They really had a complete game. FAMU struggled in that first half against Texas Southern University, and they were able to put together things in the second half. Musa here on third down. Huge play in the ball game. First quarter action. Musa looking, and it's incomplete. Fourth down, and FAMU will punt the football.
Great job by the Bulldogs defensive unit. It was man-to-man coverage all the way across that time for Alabama A&M. That time, Jeremy Musa tried to check it down underneath to his wide receiver. Just wasn't able to put it in the right spot for his receiver to come away with that catch. But you got to give the Bulldogs a lot of credit for standing up and actually taking the punch of Florida A&M in this football game. And now they have a chance with 3:12 left to go here in the first quarter of play to get the football back.
Trey Wilhoit will punt the ball away, the redshirt senior. And we've got whistles. Timeout, Florida A&M.
You can imagine that Coach Simmons is not pleased with the way his defensive unit has responded, nor is he probably pleased with the way his offensive unit has played, and especially when you're the play caller and you're trying to make sure that you get guys in the right position to make plays for you, and you have that play that you want, and you notice the play that's going to make the big difference in the game, and you can't get the ball to your guys. That actually puts a lot of pressure on you. You start to feel some kind of way, because now you're trying to start saying to yourself, or you will start saying to yourself, what do I need to do in order to get this offense going?
$17-14 is our score. And this is where Alabama A&M, they will need a big play themselves on special teams. This will land inside the 20. And a nice play by the special teams of Florida A&M. And virtually no return there by Terrell Gardner from Birmingham, Alabama.
For a moment there, you thought Gardner was going to be able to get that ball back up the field that time, but a great job by the specialty units from the Rattlers to step up down the field, make an open field tackle, and keep Alabama A&M on this side of the 20-yard line.
First down and 10 now for Alabama A&M. They're inside their own 20-yard line. They give on the first down. It's like Ryan Morrow on the carry out to about the 20-yard line. They'll call him down at the 19. Morrow, of course, we told you about the big game that he had against Lane College. He was player of the week. This one, Donovan Eaglin, he was injured to start the year. 18 carries, 191 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Man in motion is Cameron Young now for Alabama A&M. Good throw and catch. Catch made by LeVar Gums. And that will be enough for, well, actually it'll be short of a first down.
One of the things that you can tell that Florida A&M does a great job of in their back part of their defense is they made it look as if they were in a cover 4 look, and as the play started, you saw the rotation down by one of the safeties to make it a cover 3. They did a great job of getting the pass out into the boundary area for a 3rd and short.
3rd down and 2. Casey pitches the ball out to Morrow, and a big defensive play by Florida A&M. And on the tackle is Lovey Jenkins, the senior from Orlando.
Jenkins does a great job of just beating the right tackle on the top side of your screen, getting into the backfield that time, able to make that play 5 or 6 yards deep in the backfield. That's just a great job of just getting on your horses and making or destroying the guy in front of you.
Jenkins with a huge play, and now the Bulldogs will face 4th down. So where they had 3rd down and short, 3rd and 2, a big play given up there, and now they'll have to give the ball back to Florida A&M. Nearly another block. This one goes to about the 30-yard line. And on the return for Florida A&M, Jamari Shareed, the 5'7" redshirt junior. Doesn't get a lot, but I tell you what, that FAMU special teams, they put a lot of pressure on the punter.
They sure did, and once again, it comes right up the middle. That's what you tell your guys when you're actually coaching special teams, when you're coaching to go against a punt, and you want to block that punt. That pressure usually comes up the middle of the field. Why? Because you can grab linemen, you can pull them, you can create lanes for your guys to get through, and that was very close to being a block punt for Florida A&M. Let's see if the Rattlers can recover after a couple of bad possessions on the offensive side of the ball. There's that shift that you talked about.
Yeah, they make a lot of shifts before the snap of the ball. Musa pulls it down. Musa will be sacked. Great play by the Alabama A&M defense, and Musa goes down.
The guy that you have to give a lot of credit to on that particular play is the big defensive end, and it's going to be a holding penalty.
Going to be holding against Florida A&M. That's declined, and it'll be 2nd down, 2nd and long.
I think that was Zaire Hayes who was able to get the actual initial pressure, and that's where the penalty is actually going to come in, as the left tackle on the top side of your screen had a big wrap bear hug on Hayes to keep him from getting in the backfield.
More rotation here by Alabama A&M. And once again, Musa gets the ball across the midfield stripe. Great catch. And it's a 1st down out to David Manigo, graduate student from Decatur, Georgia.
Yeah, Manigo does a good job of being able to get across the defense, crossing the face of the safety, and a great place to put the ball for Musa to find Manigo on that particular route.
There you see the head coach, Willie Simmons, just before he went out to see the picture of Connell Maynor, and he is not happy.
He's upset with his safety because the safety let Manigo cross his face. The one thing that you teach guys in your secondary is reroute the wide receiver. Don't let them have a clear path. And with this type of offense, that's what can happen.
We're going to take a break here on the Hill. 17-14, FAMU on top. Well, we start the second quarter here with a much closer game than it was. It was 17-0 Alabama A&M with 14 unanswered to end the first quarter.
And the only thing that you can really say is that the Alabama A&M Bulldogs were able to find something within themselves that put them in a position where they said, we're not going to lay down and allow this to happen to us in this football game. You're down 17 points, and all of a sudden, they find life. And they find, Alabama A&M found life, and when they did find life, Santoria, they were able to put points on the scoreboard. They had to make a change at quarterback. Langford's out, Casey comes in, and having Casey come in throws off Florida A&M just a little bit, because when you prepared all week long for one particular quarterback and now you see the other quarterback come in, it can throw you off just a little bit from a defensive standpoint. But give a lot of credit to this Bulldog football team for finding the fight that they need to stay in this game.
Well, I'll tell you something else. You know, this is just one of those days, you know, and Coach Connell Maynard spoke about this, is that we've got to fight through that adversity. We have to make sure that, you know, things happen. Let's fight through that. Let's not worry about what happened. Let's worry about what we can do to fight through it.
And he says it every single week. We have to find a way to recover, because we're going to have to do the same thing. And in football, you have to do it the same thing over and over again. You're going to have to line up and play the entire football game. And that's what he's been telling his guys all week long, that, hey, just because they're the Rattlers, just because they're one of the best teams in FCS football, just because they're the #2 team in black college football, that doesn't mean anything today. what really means something is how much fight do the Dogs have in them. And you're finding out that the Dogs have plenty of fight.
17-14 is our score. A couple of touchdowns early on and a field goal for Florida A&M, and then Alabama A&M coming back. Quincy Casey with a pass to LeVar Gums, and then a 43-yard touchdown pass to Hewitt. Here is the give. Across the 45, down to about the 40, inside the 40-yard line. Actually, a great run by this Florida A&M defense, or offense, I should say.
The front side, or the play side, offensive lineman on the top half of the screen did a great job of opening up the hole for Jennings to be able to run through on that side. If they can get Jennings going in this football game, it's going to be a long day here in the second quarter. Penalty on the play. Looked like it's going to go against the Rattlers. It's going to be holding.
Well, they will have to back up now, so a positive play for the Rattlers turns into a penalty. But as we said, for this Florida A&M team, they still have a lot to play for. When you're talking about trying to host the SWAC championship game, and they want to finish undefeated as well. Musa, throw incomplete.
Musa's out of rhythm altogether, Centurion. You can see it happening. He's trying to force things to happen. He tried to throw it out to Gassett that time, and that was just a great job by the Alabama A&M Bulldogs once again to get him off of his spot. Musa, anytime he has to be moved off of his spot, he's not as consistent.
This will bring up second down and 20 now, 17-14, our score. And you see just a little bit of movement, and it looks like it'll go against Florida A&M.
It's going to be a false start against the Rattler offensive group. Moving back another 5 yards, and even if you're the most prolific offense, you don't draw or design plays for second and 20.
Now second and 25.
Yeah.
And so now the Rattlers all the way back in their own territory.
I wouldn't be surprised in this situation if you see screen pass from the Rattlers.
Musa back to pass, looking, and it's incomplete. And that'll bring up third down and long here for the Rattlers. So if you're Florida A&M now, and you just said it, Musa out of rhythm right now just a little bit. You've got to give a little credit here to Alabama A&M secondary stepping up and making some plays, not allowing there to be a lot of cushion on those long passes downfield.
And when you're a quarterback, and especially in this type of system, you definitely want to make sure that you maintain rhythm, because once you get out of it, it's hard to find it. And right now, you said it, the defense of Alabama A&M is doing a great job of keeping Musa out of his rhythm.
Top of the screen, you see trips formation stack. Now Musa back to pass, still in trouble, trying to find someone open. He gets across the 40 and he's brought down at about the 45-yard line. Great defensive pursuit by Alabama A&M. It looked like Jamarian Ellis there to stop Musa.
Good job that time. You saw the twist stunt being used by the Bulldogs, and that forced Musa to actually step up and have to run the football. Still puts the Rattlers in a position where they have to punt the football away. Coach Willie Simmons not happy at all with what's going on. Wanted a horse collar called on that particular play. He thought his quarterback was caught from behind and pulled down, and he wanted a horse collar.
I think that was Billingsley on that last tackle, tracking down Musa, and now Florida A&M will have to punt the football, and they will get this one away, and it will go into the end zone for a touchback, and Alabama A&M will have the football. Well, of course, you know, not only this game going on, there's a lot of games that will have implications in SWAC play. Of course, this game here on the eastern side, you know, more or less we know FAMU will be in the SWAC championship game. Where and who is going to be the biggest question for them. But the biggest thing is on the western side. There's a lot to talk about, and we'll get into a little bit of it at halftime. But honestly, the biggest thing on the other side, when you start looking at things, is what's going to happen with Alcorn, Southern, and Grambling? We'll talk about that later. Quincy Casey is 87 yards, 2 touchdowns so far.
Completing 60% of his passes on the day.
Not a bad first half.
To say that he came in at the latter part of the first quarter, Santori, you're absolutely right. He's been able to get this offense actually rolling for Alabama A&M.
Here's Casey looking downfield, and it is incomplete. Intended receiver was Jacoby Hewitt, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
And that was great coverage down the field by the Florida A&M Rattlers on that play. Even though Casey had plenty of time using the play action, holds the guys up front and then tried to go down the sideline, but that's just great coverage by the Dark Cloud defense.
And you can just tell, there is a difference. Of course, Langford can run the football, does run the football a little bit more. Casey's one that will pass the football. We saw him do this against Jackson when he was at Jackson State. He can pass the football. Here is the run, and a minimal gain here on 2nd down, maybe a yard, maybe.
And you're stretching it when you say maybe.
Maybe.
He may have made it back to the original line of scrimmage. He being Eagland didn't get very far off of the left side that time. Great job up front by the defensive tackles for Florida A&M University, being able to get into the backfield, squeeze right off of that guard and that tackle, and make the tackle at the line of scrimmage.
Empty backfield now for Alabama A&M, and boy, Casey is just lit up as he gets the ball. He tries to throw it away, and he is just absolutely tattooed in the backfield.
And if you're the quarterback and you see this coming, the only thing that you can do is try to get the ball out of your hands as quickly as possible, and that just unbelievable pressure being put on Casey on that last play right up the middle of the offensive line. And that's something that you go to the sideline and you make that correction immediately, because you cannot afford to have somebody coming up the middle of your football field getting to your quarterback. And
Isaiah Major there to disrupt things, and looks like we've got a flag on the play.
Not sure who that one's going to go against. It looked like it was A&M Florida A&M was offsides, but you can see that the officials are huddling to talk about what's going on.
That will be an offsides against the defense.
It's only a 5-yard penalty. Oh, that was a major shift by the entire Alabama A&M team, trying to draw Florida A&M offside, and it did it again.
And that's going to bring up a 1st down. That could be a 1st down here for Alabama A&M.
Wow, something that you hear Coach Simmons talk about all year long with this Florida A&M University football team is their level of discipline. 2nd time in a row offsides, and both of them on punt.
And you can see the shifting going on, throwing off Florida A&M. Jalen Glaze that time, I believe, was offsides, and just a great play. 2 plays, and you get a 1st down.
Who believes that that's going to work 2 times in a row?
Well,
and I mean, that's something as a coach that you're saying, don't move. You can't move. Expect fake. Expect something. And in that situation, both times, Florida A&M gets caught moving, and now they give the ball back to the Bulldogs.
Casey back to pass. Casey takes off. Lots of space and opportunity, and Casey gets on the opposite side of the field. 1st down, Bulldogs.
This is what happens, Santoria, in plays like this, when your defensive linemen get too far up the field and create gaps and lanes. 2 defensive tackles get too far up the field. They were past the hips of the quarterback, and then Casey was able to run.
And this pass out to, I believe it's Donovan Eaglin, is incomplete.
Casey paid the price on that play, too. He's still down.
He is, yeah. He was absolutely just leveled on that play. They already have Langford out of the ball game. They can ill afford to have Casey out as well.
I'm talking about he took a major shot. He never saw it coming because it was backside pressure that was coming that time as he turned his shoulders to look for his wide receiver. Look at the pressure coming. Boom! He gets smoked.
Really a fumble on that play, and Eaglin is able to recover. And for Casey, man, I'm still he's still thinking, did I leave something back there?
He did. His brain.
And a timeout by Alabama A&M here.
Because that is the definition of getting your brains knocked out on that particular play. You do not see it coming whatsoever, and you take a punishing blow.
And so now you see the coaches over there talking with the players, not happy. You see Coach Connell Maynard talking to Casey in the huddle.
And some of the issues happen when you don't expect teams to do a lot of blitzing, and they use a lot of just the four-man rush. You saw the pressure coming off of the backside.
17-14, A&M on top of Alabama A&M. Back after this.
Join the HBCU family. You become part of the tradition of breaking barriers in your community, breaking ground in your career, and bringing it with everything you do. From how you look to how you move in the classroom, on the court, and on the field. That's why Academy Sports and Outdoors is proud to celebrate the HBCU legacy and all those to add to it in their own way.
We are exactly what you think. We are not at all what you think. We are past, present, and future, all in one. Because the best way to honor our history is to make history. General Motors, honored to sponsor the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
On the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee, Florida, sits a university that produces legends, neurosurgeons, business executives, princesses, comedians, movie moguls, NFL players, broadcast executives, and conference champions. Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. You can get anywhere from FAMU.
In 1920, an athletic league was formed and slowly became one of the leading sports associations in the world of collegiate athletics, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Today, the SWAC is looking towards the next century, growing, supporting, and transforming our intercollegiate sports activities for student athletes and promoting academic excellence. Each SWAC member institution represents a high level of integrity and sportsmanship. We are the SWAC, building champions for life.
17-14 our score. Florida A&M on top of Alabama A&M. You just saw the PSA about the Southwestern Athletic Conference. 6 schools were the founding members of this conference. There's only one remaining. What's that school?
That's a very good question.
6 schools, of course, were founding members of this conference. There's one school remaining. Alabama A&M, before the additions of Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, Alabama A&M joined in 1999 and Arkansas Pine Bluff in 1997. And remember when both of those schools joined the conference. Here is the pass from Casey. This one is caught. Jacoby Hewitt with a big catch. First down, Bulldogs.
Good job that time by Casey, being able to find Hewitt. Threw it back shoulder that time. Had the one-on-one coverage to the outside. Great timing on that particular play by the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Huge first down for the Bulldogs.
Exactly what the doctor ordered now for 8 first downs for Alabama A&M. And Hewitt with the catch once again. He gets inside the 25-yard line and then hit. And Hewitt has been a workhorse here in the first half of play.
Hewitt's doing a great job, and Casey's doing an even better job of being able to get the ball out of his hands before the defensive linemen are able to get in his face. He's making the checkdowns where he needs to make them and picking up positive yards.
Kobe Hewitt, 3 touchdowns on the year. Here's the give to the big back, Donovan Eaglin. Gets across the 20-yard line and now inside the red zone, the most precious territory on the football field.
That's just a great job up front by one of the big offensive linemen off of the right side. It was the right tackle who was able to get the block on the defensive end that opened up the running lane for Eaglin to be able to pick up positive yards or first down yards for the Bulldogs.
Casey looking, trying to find an open receiver, incomplete.
He threw that one out of bounds.
Couldn't find a receiver, and that will bring up second down.
And if you're Coach Carnell Maynard, you're happy because your quarterback didn't put the ball in a position where the defensive backs for Florida A&M could go and actually make a play on that ball. He made sure that if it was going to go anywhere, it was either going to his wide receiver or he was going to throw it out of bounds.
Second down and 10. Nice give to Eaglin. Eaglin still on his feet. Gets to about the 11. Now you're starting to see Alabama A&M turn it up a little bit in the running game.
That's something that Coach Maynard said that he knew his team was going to have to do in this football game. If they were going to be successful, they could not be one-dimensional.
Here is the give. Goes inside the 10-yard line. And Eaglin loses his helmet.
And I think because he loses his helmet on the hit, he can stay in the football game. But a good job off of the left side of that offensive line. The left guard did a great job of taking the defensive tackle for Florida A&M University and what they call a wash block. He pushed him past the center that created the lane for Eaglin to be able to run through.
Casey pitching it out. Ryan Morrow inside the 5. Morrow in for the score. Bulldogs take the lead.
The option play off of the left side that time, Santoria. The first time that the Bulldogs tried to run it initially at the beginning of the ball game, the play got blown up. But give a lot of credit to the big H-back tight end that time who did just enough to get a block on the defensive back that opened it up for the running back to be able to walk into the end zone for the touchdown.
A&M now with a lead, 20-17 over Florida A&M. Extra point try is up, and it is good. We have a ball game here in Huntsville as the Bulldogs, who are down 17-0, have gone on to score 21 unanswered.
Just unbelievable relentlessness by this Alabama A&M Bulldogs football team who refused to lay down and die in this football game.
A&M on top of FAMU by 4. Exciting game here on the Hill, 21-17, Alabama A&M on top. And honestly, I tell you what, at first you just thought, man, Florida A&M is going to start running away with this. And just when you think that, here come the Dogs.
Dogs find a way to do what they love to do, which is play aggressive football. They found a way to come back. 12 plays, 80 yards, 4 minutes, 58 seconds that they took off of the clock, and they now control this football game. They're ahead by 4 points. You can't do anything but tip your hats to the Alabama A&M Bulldogs for the fight that they've put up in today's game.
Here's the kick. Comes down to A&M at about the 15-yard line, and a run back just beyond the 35-yard line, and that'll be a first down.
If you're Alabama A&M, the one thing that you want to be able to do is ride this momentum that you have right now. All the pressure is on the Florida A&M Rattlers. So you want to continue to make them have to make plays in this football game. You don't have to force anything. Just stay within yourself. And that's something that the defensive coordinator for Alabama A&M talked about this week, staying within their character, within themselves. And if they played within themselves and up to their capabilities, it would be a long day for Florida A&M.
Musa handing the ball off on the first down. And a short run. Kelvin Dean Jr., the redshirt senior. Transfer from Florida Atlantic.
Several transfers on this Florida A&M University team.
Oh, yeah, they've got quite a few transfers on this team. Mercer, Iowa State, Bethune-Cookman.
Buffalo and Nebraska.
Oh, absolutely. Musa calling for the ball. Musa nearly taken down. He escapes pressure and throws the football away, but a flag on the play.
Let's see what they're going to call. Holding.
Going to be against Florida A&M.
Great job by the Bulldogs getting pressure. That's going to be Zarian Hayes again getting in the backfield. He was the guy earlier in the football game that was able to get pressure on Musa, get him off of his spot just like he did a second ago, and picks up another penalty against this Florida A&M football team.
Ashton Grable was the guilty party. 6'4", redshirt sophomore from Jacksonville State. And that pass is incomplete.
Here's what you're seeing from Florida A&M on this particular play. Now they're rolling the pocket. They're getting Musa out of the pressure, trying to isolate and get passes on the outer perimeter one-on-ones. And that time Musa had a man wide open, just wasn't able to get him the football.
Third down now for Florida A&M.
I'd dial it up right here, Santori. I'd send as many as I could.
Musa looks, throws, delivers, caught, and still on his feet. That is Jeremiah Pruitt, the tight end, and he makes it all the way down inside the 10-yard line to about the 5, and that's a first down for Florida A&M. A huge throw, catch, and yards after the catch.
Give a lot of credit to Jeremy Musa, and even better job by the wide receiver Pruitt to be able to make an adjustment on that ball and then runs it down inside of the 5-yard line. The Bulldogs only sent a 3-man pressure. I thought they would have dialed it up in that situation, because as long as they've been able to move Musa off of the spot, it has actually been a great thing for the Alabama A&M Bulldogs defensive unit. That time only a 3-man pressure, and Musa had plenty of time to find Pruitt.
First down, and you talk about giving up explosive plays. That's another big one there, because you saw Pruitt. He was surrounded by 3 defenders. 2 had a chance to tackle him, and he was able to get away.
And last week you saw the same thing with Shareed catching a pass on the outer perimeter on a quick screen where Prairie View A&M University couldn't make a tackle. 3 or 4 guys around him. That tells you the elusiveness of these wide receivers at Florida A&M University. He was able to get up the middle of the football field. He, being Pruitt, was able to get up the middle of the football field, crossing the face again of the defensive backs, the safeties, and corrected himself, adjusted himself, makes a great catch, and now the ball is resting inside of the 5-yard line for Florida A&M. The most explosive play that they've had in the last quarter and a half.
Guilford came off the field. He was injured for Alabama A&M, and now Musa in business now. You see A&M starting to adjust defensively. Here's the give into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida A&M. Kelvin Dean Jr. getting the score, and now Florida A&M goes back out on top.
Good job that time by Kelvin Dean Jr. following the pulling guys on that play. The big guard pulls, and then the H-back also pulls and kicks out or turns up in the hole, and then Dean was able to read his offensive lineman, step into the end zone for the touchdown to put the Florida A&M Rattlers back on top.
Extra point away from going back up by a field goal. Looks like we are now going to go back and forth here in this ball game in Huntsville. Extra point try is good. 24-21 now our score as FAMU puts another 6 on the board.
Can't say enough about what transpired on that play for the Florida A&M University Rattlers.
Florida A&M up by 3 here in the second quarter.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent. HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs, committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
Doritos created Solid Black in 2021 to help fuel the initiatives of Black leaders seeking to drive real change. And this year, Doritos Solid Black is welcoming 16 new change makers to the program. We are Solid Black.
Huge play coming up.
Talking about dropping the ball.
I got the score. Tostitos Hardy Dippers.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
We are exactly what you think. We are not at all what you think. We are past, present, and future, all in one. Because the best way to honor our history is to make history. General Motors, honored to sponsor the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
Florida A&M now on top 24-21 here in the second quarter after a touchdown run by Kelvin Dean Jr. from about 4 yards out. And this game looks like now it's going to go back and forth. Alabama A&M puts up 21 unanswered. Here comes Florida A&M. They're able to make some headway, and a lot of it is just them taking their time. 5 plays, 67 yards, a minute 45 off the clock. Here is the kickoff. It goes out of the end zone, and it will come out to the 25-yard line.
It is the essence of watching great boxers box. You see punch, counter punch, and then you'll see one of them try to go for the knockout blow. And in this particular game so far, since it's just the first half of this football game, you've seen punch, counter punch, big knockout blow. Each team is trying their best to try to take the other team out of this football game as quickly as they can.
Casey still in the ball game. Don't forget Xavier Langford came out with an injured, looked like what was an injured wrist when he came out. Here is the give. Out about a yard on the play, maybe, and that'll bring up second down.
You had a guy lose his helmet on the play, one of the big offensive linemen for Alabama A&M University, but give a lot of credit to the down forward that time for Florida A&M being able to make the tackle on the running back and not allowing him to pick up too many yards on that play. When you can control that offensive line, that puts you in the position to be able to make the opposing team more predictable on second and third down.
Casey taking off. Slides at about the 30-yard line, and they'll call him down at the 28. Probably the best decision there, not to take a sack and not to try to get his head knocked off again.
Get what you can on that play, because the defensive linemen were sitting in his face. Casey was able to step up off of the right side of his offensive line, and he was able to pick up positive yards. It's still third and long in this situation, but at least it's third and long and a manageable third and long.
This series began back in 1932. Florida A&M leads this series 15-2. Bulldogs looking for their first win in this series since 1979. Been a few years. Over the middle to the tight end, incomplete.
Crossing routes or a mesh route that time by Florida A&M University. Smith was the guy in good defensive coverage that time for the Florida A&M University Rattlers. Give a lot of credit to the defensive lineman for being able to get into Casey's face, rush him, get him out of the rhythm that he was able to develop early on in this contest.
And whistles on the play. It's fourth down, by the way. Let's see who this flag will go against.
False start against the Bulldog offensively. So moving back 5 yards. And when you've already had a couple of special teams mistakes, you don't want that to happen.
Another punting situation here. Good punt. And it comes down inside the 20-yard line.
And Sheree does the smart thing. He fair catches the ball, puts his offensive unit back out there on the football field. And right now, with a little over 4 minutes left to go in this game, it looks as if Florida A&M has an opportunity where they can take it back down the field and actually jump up a couple of more points to have a little bit better lead going in at halftime.
Well, Musa will lead the troops back out here on offense. And, you know, look, these games have ebb and flows.
Yes.
And one of the things that you have to do is you have to be able to manage the game. And I think that's what a lot of these coaches talk about is how do we manage the football game even when you have some of those flows. Here's a give across the 25 out near the 30-yard line. And on the carry for Florida A&M, the big running back, Jaquez Yant, 6'2", 235, the transfer from Nebraska. Boy, he is huge.
Big fella. And he can run the football. He's running the football down the hill. Give a lot of credit to the center, the guard, and the tackle for opening up and creating a running lane for the big running back, Yant, to be able to run through. But this is something that Coach Simmons and his staff actually talked about the last couple of weeks, is how do we get the running game going? And it all starts with those big offensive linemen up front.
Again, the ball carrier. A swarm of the Bulldogs defense takes him down at the Rattler 32-yard line.
Under 4 minutes now remaining in this first half of play, and Florida A&M would like to get one more score in before halftime. Incomplete. And now the Bulldogs.
That's good defense.
Yep.
Up front, you see where the pressure was there enough to just make Musa have to throw that ball a little quicker than what he wanted to. Pressure coming off the backside. Musa tries to throw the wheel route to Sharif on the play side that time, and a great coverage again, but that all started with the pressure that comes from the backside.
Huge third down. The give. And it will be short of the first down. That was Kelvin Dean Jr., who has a touchdown already in the ball game on the carry. He's about 2 or 3 yards shy.
And if anybody believes in this situation that Coach Willie Simmons is probably going to go for it, you're probably mistaken, because the defense this year has been playing so well for Florida A&M University, and Coach Simmons believes that that's what's carried his football team all season long. So the one thing that he said that he wouldn't do is put his defense in a bad situation. It's 4th and 2, but he elects to send out the punting unit so the defense can come back out and play solid football.
Punting situation to get this one away, and it will take a bounce. Goes into the end zone. FAMU is trying to pin Alabama A&M back up deep in their own territory, but instead it rolls out of the end zone, and it will be first down. And there you see Connell Maynard talking to the special teams here again as well. Special teams, boy, that has been the biggest thing when you talk about the last couple of games. Special teams have been a big part of A&M having some issues. 24-21 our score. Florida A&M top 25 in the FCS on top of Alabama A&M 24-21. You know, you talk to coaches this time of year, and you know some of the teams, you know where you stand as far as having an opportunity to go further after the end of the regular season, or if you're just kind of playing the schedule out, just trying to improve for next year. But all the coaches have said our job now is, especially for those teams who won't make the postseason, is to make certain that we are playing our best moving forward, because you still have to build on next year. And so that's one of the things that Coach Connell Maynard said, is that we still have to build on next year. We don't want to say because we're not going to make the SWAC championship that we don't have a lot of work to do.
You still have plenty of work to do, because now you hit the nail on the head when you say you have to build. It actually helps you to be able to recruit players to come into your program that will help to build your program to what you want it to be.
Here is Casey taking off with the football, diving forward, maybe a gain of a yard or two.
And again, that's smart. You talk about game management. Casey does a great job of managing. Nothing open, down the field, pressure in his face. He steps up and was able to pick up positive yards on the play. When you're down inside of 2 minutes, or right at about the 2-minute mark in a football game, you don't want to do anything that will put your team in a bind.
Here's a throw. It's caught. And that is going to be Darren Turner, the wide receiver, redshirt sophomore from Memphis, transfer from Arkansas.
Just that little bit of a play fake to Eglins underneath, holds the safeties, holds the linebackers, and allows the wide receiver to run that slant in and pick up a first down for the Bulldogs.
You see a little cushion being given by this FAMU defense. Here's the throw, and it is incomplete. And great defense by Isaiah Major, the linebacker. Major top 10 in the conference in tackles, and of course, one of the best in tackles for loss, senior from Oklahoma City.
Isaiah Major is the guy. He's the guy that everybody's looking at on this FAMU football team to go and do something big. He's actually getting looks from the NFL right now because of what he's able to do. He has the physical presence, and then he shows you that he can run down the field and play one-on-one coverage with the wide receivers.
Here's the give across the 45-yard line, and that'll be enough, or close to a first down.
By the Rattlers, Isaiah Major.
Major on the tackle, Eaglin on the run.
And there's a penalty on the play.
It's going to go against Alabama A&M. That will negate the run.
Great running play, but a hold call against the Bulldogs is going to push them back 10 yards in this situation. You go from having a first down to now being a third and call it 20.
Alabama A&M coming into the ball game, 55 penalties on the season, averaging 51 yards in penalties per game. Number 1 in offense in the SWAC, number 6 in defense, going against the number 1 defensive team in the SWAC. Caught, extra yardage after the catch. Past the 40-yard line, and that's going to be Keenan Hambrick, the junior from Athens, Alabama.
Good job that time by the junior wide receiver, making the play on the near side, top of your screen, puts a move on the defensive back, and then runs over one, and now you're looking at third down and short.
Throw incomplete, nearly picked off.
Ooh, that was a bad decision that time by Casey.
Well, fortunately for Casey, that ball was not picked off, because right there getting ready to come away with it was the defensive back, Deco Wilson.
And I wonder if Casey was expecting his wide receiver to break off on a shorter pattern that time, maybe a hitch route on the boundary side.
And there was a penalty against Alabama A&M. That penalty was declined. 4th down and 6 now, it looks like, for Alabama A&M. Punt team will now come on the field.
Reed will return.
just about ready to wrap it up here in the first half of play. And, you know, if you get out of this, you're in good shape. And nearly blocked again. This kick going downfield, and it goes out of bounds inside the 10-yard line down to about the 6. So a great job there flipping the field. And now Florida A&M, they'll probably just kneel on the football in the first half.
Oh, that's absolutely what they're going to do in this situation, because you're going to go in up by 3 points, and then you don't want to do anything that's going to cost your unit before you go in at the half. So you won't see anything major right here. Musa will probably take the knee, go in, and everybody will go have a conversation. This has been one heck of a football game for a first half of a football game.
Oh, I wonder what the conversation is going to be like on both sides of the coin here.
Well, if I was a betting man, it's going to be a lot of guide me, O thou great Jehovah's at halftime.
I mean, there's 15 seconds left. Keep one going down there.
Well, I mean,
and FAMU
halftime, what do we have to do for halftime? We have to shoot the end
on the field, just getting ready to take the knee here. And that is exactly, no, they're going to fake it.
From Baruski?
And whatever, it goes to about the 5-yard line, so it didn't net any yards on that play. And that will run the first half clock out. Well, that'll do it for the first half of play here in Huntsville, Alabama on Senior Day on the Hill. Florida A&M will take a lead into the halftime locker room as Alabama A&M making some big plays after being down 17-0. They get a big play out to the wide receiver, and then Morrow into the end zone for a touchdown. And they cap things off for Florida A&M with a run into the end zone for a touchdown. 24-21, Florida A&M on top. Here in Huntsville, Alabama, it is Senior Day, Military Appreciation Day here on the Hill. 24-21, Florida A&M on top of Alabama A&M as the band will get ready to go onto the field. This will be the Florida A&M marching band. Alabama A&M will come on after that. And as we wait for the band here, honestly, I tell you what, we'll look at some the first half highlights and stats a little bit later on, but this has been an exciting ball game to say the least to start things out.
Back and forth, ebb and flow. You mentioned it early on in the first half of this football game, and we have a dandy from Lewis Crew Stadium.
The Florida A&M band, of course, surrounding the field, and they're called the Marching 100 for a reason. This band has been legendary, and of course, great addition to the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Just an amazing group of musicians that are out there on that football field, and you see the Marching 100. They're all the way around the football field, encompassing 100 yards, Santoria. Can you imagine that?
And of course, they've been doing some, they've been doing a few ceremonies or a few things out there here for halftime. And it looks like we are just about ready here for the Florida A&M Marching Band, our halftime presentation presented by Pepsi. Let's go down to the band. (24-21) is our score. Florida A&M on top here at halftime. We'll take this timeout. Back with news and notes right after this. The Florida A&M marching 100 on the field, 24-21 at halftime. Let's take a look at the Southwestern Athletic Conference news and notes, as there's a lot that is going on. Of course, you've got the end of fall sports, the beginning of spring sports on the way. Taking a look at the SWAC Volleyball Weekly honors. The SWAC named Jackson State's Alexis Williams, Hope Briggs, and Jordan Jones, along with Prairie View A&M's Leah Lawson, for the Volleyball Weekly honors this past week.
Jackson State's Jacobian Morgan and Leilani Marta, and Grambling State's Sandy Anderson, along with Alabama State's Amon Scarborough, were named SWAC Football Players of the Week.
And then, of course, breaking barriers. This was great. Jackson State's Leilani Armenta became the first woman in HBCU history to score in a game last week. She converted all 3 of her PAT. So congratulations going out to her. Of course, news and notes brought to you by GM. Taking a look at the schedule, of course, later on, I should say on next week, Grambling will take on Arkansas Pine Bluff. That is a Friday night ball game on ESPNU. Alabama A&M will battle against Bethune-Cookman on Saturday, and then Alabama State traveling to Mississippi Valley.
And then you have Prairie View A&M University going to Southern University. That game is on Saturday at 3 p.m. And then Lincoln out of California will take on Florida A&M. That game is at Bragg Memorial Stadium. And then on November the 12th, it is Alcorn State taking on Texas Southern in Houston, Texas.
Huge game. That Prairie View Southern game will be absolutely huge. Pepsi SWAC scoreboard. Southern right now getting it handed to them against Alcorn 24-7. Southern needs a win here in order to try to continue to get for that SWAC Western crown. Prairie View on top of Arkansas Pine Bluff 17-0. Jackson State on top of Texas Southern 14-0. Grambling and Alabama State in the Port City Classic at 4 p.m. If Southern and Grambling win in both of these next 2 weeks, the Bayou Classic will determine the West.
Wow. And right now, if you're a Grambling Tiger fan, you need for the Southern University Jaguars to find life.
Absolutely, because Alcorn will win the tiebreaker. Of course, this is the SWAC preseason poll presented by GM on the eastern side. Florida A&M was picked to finish first, Jackson second, Alabama State third. It's gone pretty chalk over on the west side, except Texas Southern. They've fallen off. Prairie View has improved a little bit, but Southern Alcorn right on top of the west.
And when you look at things from where they are right now, Santoria, everybody still has a chance. So if you're Grambling, if you're Southern, you definitely have to push for things to happen in your favor going down the stretch.
Absolutely. Alcorn, they get a win here. They'll win the tiebreaker over Grambling and Southern University on the eastern side. Things have wrapped up. Florida A&M will win the east. They could host depending on what happens in the west. So that's why they need to keep on winning. And, of course, the Alabama A&M marching band out on the field right now. And let's go down on the field and enjoy them. We're going to take it to break first. 24-21 is our score. Florida A&M on top. We'll be back with the A&M marching band right after this. A&M on top of Alabama A&M at halftime. Let's go down to the Alabama A&M marching band. The maroon and white marching band on the field along with high school students from around the Huntsville area. Florida A&M on top here at halftime, 24-21. SWAC football on ESPN presented by Pepsi. Halftime stats presented by Pepsi here in the first half as Florida A&M on top 24-21.
The Rattlers have 31 rushing attempts, 169 yards passing for a total of 200 yards in the game. Rattlers are hurting right now on third down conversions. They're only 1 for 5. They have 6 penalties in this game for 50 yards. 13 minutes and 5 seconds for the Rattlers time of possession. But when you turn around and you look at the Bulldogs, 46 rushing yards, 135 yards passing, 181 yards total. They are also suffering, the Bulldogs, in the third down department. Only 2 for 8, 3 penalties in this game for 25 yards. But here's the key component of this game is the Bulldogs has been able to hold the ball for 16 minutes and 55 seconds, thus the score 24-21, only a 3-point ball game.
Yeah, for Florida A&M, they're 42% on third down conversions this year, and for Alabama A&M, almost at 42%, 41.9. And so got to improve on third down, of course. And the other thing is, time of possession, again, that could be a misleading number when you take a look at things, because Alabama A&M, they've had some opportunities, but Florida A&M having some special teams plays.
And the special teams plays have made a big difference in this game. Plus, it has gave Florida A&M a 17-point advantage early in this contest.
And the ball goes out of bounds, and A&M will take over first down and 10. So, you come out of the halftime locker room. If you're Alabama A&M, you get the ball first. What are you telling your team?
You tell your team what we were able to do in the first half of this football game will work in the second half of this football game if we remain consistent to the game plan that we have. Stay within our character, stay within ourselves, play up to our capabilities, and when necessary, play above our heads. But right now, with the game being a 3-point game, all we have to do is remain consistent.
Casey in the shotgun. Of course, Langford was hurt in the first half. He has not seen action anymore today. Here is the toss out of bounds as he had a lot of pressure put on him.
Right in his face that time, coming off of the right side of the offensive line. Casey tried to use the play action, but when he play faked, the defender was sitting there looking him right in the face, and all Casey could do was throw that ball away.
So that break it second down and 10 here. And, Florida A&M, they do a lot of twist stunning up front, which, you look at what the adjustments that Alabama A&M makes on defense on the line right before the snap. Florida A&M, they start with the twist stunning. Casey with the throw and the catch. Out to midfield. Ball is loose, and it looks like Florida A&M may have the football.
Oh, my goodness. A great play for Alabama A&M University turns out to be a positive play in the vicinity for Florida A&M University. Let's see what happens on this play. Play fake, good pass across the middle, wide receivers wide open. Let's see if he actually goes down. No, it's stripped out right before he goes down. Great play that time by the safety for Florida A&M University to strip that ball away, and it will be Rattler football, 1st and 10.
Johnny Chaney Jr., the linebacker, recovered the football. Not what you wanted. The play was great, not the result at the end of the play.
Definitely not the result that you wanted if you're the Bulldogs, to have the ball fumble back into the hands of Florida A&M.
And this pass is incomplete out to the wide receiver, Shareed, and it'll be second down. But, this is what Coach Maynard talks about, giving up big plays.
And it almost seemed as if it was going to be a bad exchange from the quarterback, Casey, to Eaglins, because Eaglins looked like he was trying to take the ball, and it just took Casey to pull it out at the last minute. Great pass, like you said, great play. Turns out to be an even better play for Florida A&M because they were able to strip it out, and now they have a second down and 10.
Alabama A&M with shifting going on before the snap and movement going on. And I think they're going to, you can see everybody moving up front. Let's see who they call it against. I think it's going to be against FAMU.
I don't know. It looks as if the defensive end for Alabama A&M broke the neutral zone, but you have to wait for the officials to confirm.
It is. Darian Hayes. There it is, right there. Yep.
Trying to anticipate the snap count, especially when Florida A&M doesn't really use a snap count. They use the clap.
Musa fakes the handoff, gets the pass out to the big wide receiver, I should say tight end, and that's going to be Jeremiah Pruitt, the redshirt senior, 6'5", 230.
Coach James Spady is going to be happy with his big tight end, Jeremiah Pruitt, who comes underneath the formation from the H-back position and then does a great job of being able to turn it upfield and pick up positive yards for this Florida A&M University football team.
James Spady, no stranger to the Southwestern Athletic Conference, of course, tight ends coach for Florida A&M. Here is the give and the run. Big time run on first down for
Jennings.
Florida A&M. Jennings on the carry, and I believe this will bring up a second down.
Jennings does a great job of starting inside off of the left side and then sees that the linebacker for Alabama A&M took that false step down the line of scrimmage almost into the offensive lineman. He was able to bounce it outside and pick up first down yardage.
Now Musa. Second down, I believe 2 yards to go here. They'll need to get to the 30. Musa escaped pressure. Throw it downfield, and it is in. Is it complete? Nope, incomplete.
Say this is a.
No, they could have called that complete.
Wow.
First down, Florida A&M. One official had it complete, the other one had it incomplete. And FAMU is in business. First down and goal now inside the 10. Give to Jennings. Sneaking inside.
Very close.
And they say he is down inside the 1 yard line.
You have to go back to the play before where Musa does a great job of avoiding pressure and then keeping his eyes downfield to set up the second and goal.
Musa with the handoff. Nothing doing there on second and goal. And that'll bring up third and goal.
That's a good play up front by the defensive lineman for Alabama A&M University. Getting the pressure right up the front, keeping Jennings from being able to get into the end zone. And Jennings is not a small guy. I mean, at 5'11", 230, you know, it doesn't take much for him to ease into the end zone, but just a great job of getting a push in the backfield that time for Alabama A&M.
And on this play, Jennings once again can't get that momentum that he needs, and it goes all the way back to the 6 yard line, and it looks like that Florida A&M will have to settle for a field goal.
Jennings lost his footing on the sweep play that time. Great job, though, by Alabama A&M flowing down the line of scrimmage with Jennings, because I still don't believe that Jennings would have been able to get into the end zone on that particular play.
Field goal opportunity here for Florida A&M. This will be about a 23-yard field goal attempt. The kick is up, and it is good. Gillis with the field goal, and it now puts Florida A&M up 27-21. Let's go back and look at a play here. 6-point lead for the Rattlers. And there you see the Florida A&M marching band entertaining the crowd here in Huntsville.
Oh, and they are on fire right now. Look at the guys on the sideline. They're moving and grooving along with the band. So you can tell that the momentum has definitely shifted back over to the Florida A&M University football team.
Well, if you're A&M, you only give them 3 points after the turnover. So there's a win there in a way.
Beautiful. Because now you can sit there and you can tell your guys like, hey, we only gave up 3 points. We're still in this football game. As a matter of fact, if we can put a consistent drive together, get down the field, we can actually either take the lead or still be down by 3 points.
And Michael Smith will get ready to kick it off here for Florida A&M. Well, you don't know how important kickers are until you don't have any. Jackson State was in that predicament at one point.
Yes, sir.
Here is Smith with the kick. And it goes out. It's going to be taken at about the 3-yard line. And Alabama A&M will start right around, maybe just shy of their own 20-yard line. First down and 10. On return for Alabama A&M was DeVero Moffitt, the junior. And it's first down.
And you see a little scuffling going on amongst these guys. That tells you the tension of this football game right now. Everybody's scraping and clawing right now because of the way that this game has been going. Everybody wants to win, and that is a very nice job. Look at those guys getting in after each other.
And on first down, a gain of a couple.
I think that's Casey running the football for the Bulldogs, trying to pick up some positive yards. The one thing that you cannot afford to do if you're Casey is lose your confidence in this game. You're doing well, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns, and you've completed 50% of your passes.
5 carries and 29 yards. And, of course, you know what Xavier Langford brought to the table, and Casey has been doing a wonderful job. Here is the pass, the catch, and a first down. This goes out to Keenan Hambrick, the wide receiver.
This is a great play because this is a combo route. You see a flat route, a corner route, and then you see the wide receiver, Hambrick, able to set down underneath to pick up the first down.
And here's a give to Eaglin, gets across the 40-yard line, and then a push. Looks like a flag may be on the field, and there is. Holding against Alabama A&M, another penalty.
Drive killer. That's exactly what that is. That is a drive killer. You had a great play the play before, and then now let's see if we can pick up where the holding takes place. It's going to be on the left tackle. No, actually the right guard. I was wondering where it actually took place.
Casey throwing, incomplete.
Can I tell you why I don't like some of those calls that take place? And the officials have every right to make those calls. It's just the fact that after the guys made it past the first line of defense, once they get past the defensive lineman and they're already past, what happens after that really shouldn't matter. But in this situation, of course, the official was right there. He's on top of it. He sees it, and he has to throw the flag in this situation, I guess.
Second down and 20.
But I'm just speaking as a former offensive lineman. You know, you don't like for those penalties to be called against you, especially after such a big play.
Well, Alabama A&M down 6. They avoided Florida A&M getting into the end zone. They had the ball first and goal inside the 1. And a timeout.
Well, Coach Maynard was running a 40-yard dash. And I'm telling you, he was moving. Not happy at all with his group. You can see right now he's expressing his dissatisfaction or unsatisfaction with his guys.
I don't know if he's moved that fast since any given Sunday.
Wow. And when I tell you he was moving. You could see that the form was still there. Don't let the age fool you. The form was still there. A little bit more, I thought he would have been going in motion across the formation.
He's talking to Casey right now.
And I'm pretty sure Casey either didn't get the signal or the call, or he had the right call in that he wanted because the defense was aligned a certain way, and it took Casey a little too long and the play clock was ticking.
A&M has been hit with quite a few penalties here in this ball game. And really nothing doing on that play. Rushing the football, total yards, 46 yards for Alabama A&M. Casey, 11 of 22, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been sacked once. And waiting in the wings is Jeremy Musa. But right now, Alabama A&M just needs to continue to move the football. Here's a throw by Casey, caught and out of bounds.
Still way short of the first down, but it's the first time in this football game that we've actually seen Alabama A&M use the empty formation. Quick pass into the hands of the wide receiver on the outer half. Still didn't get enough to get a first down out of the situation, but what did you do? You got a positive play, and you're able to send out your punting unit, and hopefully your defense can hold on this particular possession. Are they going to try to fake it?
It looks like they did try to fake it, but I don't think anything worked out there.
Ooh. Oh, my goodness gracious.
You got to look at this again, but there is a flag on the play. I'm not sure if there's a bad snap or they tried to fake it, but there is a flag on the play. Illegal substitution charged to Alabama A&M, and they give Florida A&M the ball back in great field position.
Oh, you can't afford to give this Florida A&M University football team less than half of the football field to get into the end zone. Even though your defense held well a moment ago, doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen on this particular possession. Let's see if Florida A&M University will try to use one of those explosive plays that that Coach Maynard was talking about trying to stop.
All right, got to take a timeout here. Florida A&M on top by 6.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
We are exactly what you think. We are not at all what you think. We are past, present, and future, all in one. Because the best way to honor our history is to make history. General Motors, honored to sponsor the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs, committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
When you join the HBCU family, you become part of the tradition of breaking barriers in your community, breaking ground in your career, and bringing it with everything you do. From how you look to how you move in the classroom, on the court, and on the field. That's why Academy Sports and Outdoors is proud to celebrate the HBCU legacy and all those to add to it in their own way.
There you see some of the firepower for Alabama A&M on the bench, the offensive unit, talking some things over. 27-21 is our score. You know, honestly, one of the things that we've been talking about for Alabama A&M, they just have to take advantage of opportunities that they're given. Right now, they've been struggling a little bit just because, they've made good plays and then turnovers.
make good plays, turnovers, or make good plays, and then there was a penalty that stopped them from being able to move the football effectively down the field against this Rattler defensive unit. And I tell you what, early in this contest, you could definitely say that the momentum was all on Florida A&M's side. And right now, this game is just going back and forth between these two teams.
A&M with the shifting going on. Nice fake by Musa, but he goes down.
Is that Zarian Hayes? He fumbled the ball?
Fumble on the play, and it looks like that Florida A&M has the ball back.
Oh, my goodness. Hayes did a great job of being able to get to Musa, and once he got there, Musa was trying to get away, and the ball pops out as well. Good job of getting up the field. Musa comes all the way around to make that play. Excuse me, Zarian Hayes comes all the way around to make the play on Musa. Brings up a long second down.
Matter of fact, it's going to bring up second down and 18. Musa looking complete. And it looks like that's going to go out to David Manigo.
Yeah, Manigo does a good job of running the comeback right at about the 40-yard line. So it's going to be third and still long for Florida A&M University. Here's where you have to dial up the pressure again and try to get Musa off of the spot.
You see the offensive lineman making calls when that adjustment happened. Here comes a blitz. And Musa nearly taken down, escaped pressure, still on his feet.
And still down the field.
Musa will take it himself, and it looks like he may have a first down.
As a defensive coach, you are absolutely mad with your unit, because he was dead to rights. Musa was dead to rights in the backfield that time. And once again, pressure coming off of the edge. Musa steps up. He should have been sacked in the backfield around the 50-yard line. Still on his feet, kept himself going, and was able to pick up a first down. Wow.
Well, those are one of those plays, like you said, where you go into that defensive film room next week and you say you cannot allow them to get out of that.
Yes. I mean, that's just a missed tackle in the backfield. Going too fast on the blitz, out of control, when Musa should have been dead to rights in the backfield.
His pass was intended for Burke.
Musa just threw that one just a little too quick. No way that the receiver was going to be able to make a play on that particular pass.
Here's a give across the 30-yard line, and it'll bring up third down.
A win right here would be for the Bulldogs would be to stop Florida A&M University and force them to attempt a field goal in this situation. That's a win for you, because after having a poor special teams play transpire for you, now you got to come up with a huge third down play to try to ensure the fact that Florida A&M University will have to take a field goal. You hear the coaches telling the defensive backs to come down and press.
Here's a throw, and it is complete.
Looks like Gassett.
And I believe that's going to be enough for a first down.
Good job up front. Musa keeping his eyes down the field again, finding his wide receiver who's running the curl route. Coaching staff for Alabama A&M not happy because felt like they had linemen down the field. Coach Maynard is all over the line judge.
The line judge, I think, takes more abuse than anybody else on the field.
He's the closest to the coach.
Yeah, he's the closest to the coach. Here's a give across the 10. Great play for Florida A&M on second down, and it'll be a first down on the carry, Kelvin Dean.
And I think that's all Kelvin Dean on this play. Kelvin Dean does a good job, even though the left guard, left tackle do a good job of turning their guys out. That's just Kelvin Dean running extremely hard to get past that first wave of defenders.
Musa. That is a direct snap, and it's a touchdown for Florida A&M.
Before you say anything about the run play and the direct snap, there's a flag on the play.
Holding against Florida A&M, touchdown comes off the board.
You saw that Jeremy Musa was moving around, and it looked as if he was trying to readjust himself. Wildcat formation, this time for Florida A&M, and it was easy to see that the right tackle for Florida A&M just reached up and grabbed the big defensive end. A little bit more, you'd have thought that they were dancing at prom.
So it'll be third down once again. Shareed in motion. First down, I should say.
A third down, you were right.
The third down, and another flag comes out. Let's see who this goes against.
Been a ton of penalties. First and 5.
That's going to go against Alabama A&M, and that gives Florida A&M an automatic first down.
Oh my.
Let's see where the face mask happened. Right there, yeah.
Just, you know, old song they were singing in the church, reach out and touch
somebody's hand.
He touched the face mask right there.
Well, it's a first down and goal now for Florida A&M. Musa on the give. He gives it out to Jeremiah Pruitt. And Pruitt gets down inside the 5-yard line.
Is that Yant?
I'm sorry, that's Yant. Jaquez Yant, the redshirt junior from Tallahassee.
He is a solid kid. He and Musa are about what and what. Musa's 6'3", 225.
I'm telling you, Yant looks a little bit bigger than 230 though.
Oh, if he's a biscuit shorter than 240.
Now movement going on. Here's Yant with the football. Tries to move forward, and they bring him back. He'll be down at the 2, it looks like. Third down and goal now.
He's a huge target. He's hard to miss. But if you do miss him, he's going to walk into the end zone. Great job up front by the Alabama A&M Bulldogs defensive unit to keep him corralled at the line of scrimmage. Brings up a 3rd and goal. Can the Bulldogs defense hold again?
So 3rd down. Here's the give, and denied the end zone again.
RPO that time, faked it to Yant, going off of the right side. Musa tries to pull it, coming underneath, and great job of filling the gap that time by the Alabama A&M Bulldogs up front.
And that was Imari Pate, I should say, that did a great job with the tackle. And now 4th down, waning moments of the 3rd quarter.
What do you do? If I'm Florida A&M in this situation, because I'm the bull of the woods. I'm the best team in the Eastern Division. I'm going for it.
Touchdown Florida A&M, and this goes right back out to Jaquez Yant.
Nothing special about what they did. I've got a big back, and I'm going to use him. Good job of the kick out by the offensive lineman that time, and it creates a power O play for Yant to be able to run it into the end zone for the touchdown. Great job, great play call, and when you have a big back, that's what you do. You run him down your throat.
2-point conversion now coming up for Florida A&M. This would put them up by 14. Musa back, looking.
Wide open.
Caught wide open in the back of the end zone, and the 2-point conversion is good. Kobe Gross, the big tight end, gets 2, and it's 35-21. Florida A&M now extending their lead to 2 touchdowns over the Bulldogs here in Huntsville. Fifteen plays, 42 yards, 7:13 off the clock. The Florida A&M Rattlers with a 1-yard touchdown run by Yant, transfer from Nebraska, coming back to play in his hometown of Tallahassee, Florida. And now the Rattlers on top by 2 scores.
When you're the Rattlers and you're up by 2 scores and your defense is as good as they are, you feel very confident about the way this thing is going to turn out for you, because right now everything is on the side of Florida A&M University, and so a 14-point advantage is a great thing for your defense.
That's right. Well, now if you're Alabama A&M, you just have to just say, hey guys, you just got to one possession at a time here.
Continue to play. You know, if something good happens, you play. If something bad happens, just continue to play.
Sounds like one of the coaches that we knew, and here is the return out to the 15 and out to maybe the 17 or 18-yard line, and that is Jacoby Hewitt going out of bounds.
Hewitt took a big hit at the end of this particular return. Great job by Florida A&M University to stay in their lanes and actually make that tackle. Coach Willie Simmons has to be happy with the way his team has recovered here in the third quarter of this football game. I think the only thing that he would definitely say is that they didn't play a complete game today.
And here's a pitch out. And a gain of maybe a yard or two on the play, and that's just about it. Tackle made by Florida A&M, and that is Javon Morgan, the graduate student from Tallahassee.
Morgan is one of those guys who can step up and make plays at any given time. Morgan said earlier this year that he felt like he was bigger, stronger, and faster, and you saw it on that last play.
You know, for this Florida A&M football team, we had a chance to talk with Coach Simmons, and one of the things that he spoke about, and we've talked about it a couple of times, and here's a pass by, and it's going to be intercepted.
Is that Morgan?
It looks like Morgan has just picked the ball off from Alabama A&M. And let's take a look at this one more time. Casey faked the handoff.
Wasn't a great pass. Didn't look like he had a whole lot on it, and then he threw it into almost triple coverage that time. Oh my goodness gracious. 8 seconds left to go in the quarter. That's the worst thing that you could do, was throw that particular pass across the middle with three guys hovering around your wide receiver.
And just coming off of a drive to where it was 7 minutes and some change. Now you give the ball back to him virtually to start the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Well, if you're Florida, if you're Alabama A&M right now, there's those mistakes, turnovers, special teams play that played a part in this. And now Jeremy Musa has the ball, first down and 10. Musa with the throw, caught, and the catch was made by Marcus Riley, the graduate student from Tallahassee, transfer from Bethune-Cookman.
They're going to end the quarter?
That should end it. We play 3 here in Huntsville. Alabama A&M just gives the ball back to Florida A&M, and now they are on the move as we get ready to go to the fourth quarter here on the Hill. 35-21, Florida A&M on top to start the fourth quarter. They will have the football after A&M threw an interception. Taking a look at the quarterback comparison, no Xavier Langford. Quincy Casey comes in. You see the numbers here.
Yeah, you're looking at him. Jeremy Musa, 12 of 23 for 249 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Casey has completed 50% of his passes for a touchdown and an interception.
There's nothing fancy on either side, but Florida A&M on top on the scoreboard due to some good defense and special teams.
And if you're Florida A&M, that's all you care about is that you're still ahead.
Here is the give on the end around, and this one goes out to Christopher Saunders, and he goes in. Touchdown. Actually, that is going to be Kareem Burke. Kareem Burke goes in for the touchdown for Florida A&M, and they are now on top 41-17.
Great setup that time by the Rattlers on this particular play. Get everybody moving to the right side, pull someone back around backside to kick out on the guy that has contained, and that time Burke was able to take it to the house for the score on the reverse play.
Well, Burke goes in, he gets the touchdown. It is now 41-21 rather, 41-21 with the extra point try coming up and to start the fourth quarter.
How bad was that interception now?
Extra point try is up and it is good. 42-21 now the score. And we will take this time out. Florida A&M up 3 scores.
Created Solid Black in 2021 to help fuel the initiatives of black leaders seeking to drive real change. And this year, Doritos Solid Black is welcoming 16 new change makers to the program. We are Solid Black.
Huge play coming up.
Talking about dropping the ball.
I got the score.
Tostitos Hardy Dippers.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
We are exactly what you think. We are not at all what you think. We are past, present, and future, all in one. Because the best way to honor our history is to make history. General Motors, honored to sponsor the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs. Committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
42-21 is our score as we are underway here in the fourth quarter of play. Alabama A&M will have the ball at the 25-yard line after the kickoff. And if you're the Bulldogs, you got to take things one play at a time. Florida A&M right now, we talked about this. They are a second-half team. They have struggled at times during the first half. Second half, they come behind, as you can see defensively there, nothing doing on first down. But that's just been their MO. They've not had a complete game. Coach Simmons talked about that against Prairie View A&M University. They had their problems against Texas Southern in the first half, and there you can see defensively they had complete control.
Just a good job right up front by the Dark Cloud defense. Boy, that pass was almost intercepted.
Yeah, when you take a look at this A&M football team, Casey with just one interception.
But that one interception came at one of the worst times at the end of the third quarter, you were already trailing by 2 scores. And then you give Florida A&M an opportunity to take the ball down the field and get a 3-point advantage, 3-score advantage here in the fourth quarter. That pass is complete.
And it gets out near the 40-yard line. We got to get something started here. 2 turnovers in the ball game, 1 fumble lost for A&M, 1 fumble, 1 interception, and just a good pass getting it out to just past midfield.
That was a good job by Casey.
Here's Casey, complete once again. This time it goes out to Cameron Young, and he gets inside the 15.
Young does a great job of running the good skinny post route, gets in that particular zone area and was able to get it up the field just past the 15-yard line.
Here's the give to Eaglin. He gets inside the 10-yard line, and one of the offensive linemen just lost his hat. I believe that's going to be Carson Vincent. Vincent, the left tackle. And there's a flag on the play.
Legal use of hands to the face by Florida A&M.
You don't see that as much the way that he. Well, there you see right there. And that's the reason that the helmet came off, which means he will not have to come out of the game or play.
Yep.
So that gets them inside the 5-yard line.
If you're Alabama A&M, you stay consistent. Continue to do what you've been doing.
Pretty even here as far as yards. Here's a throw, incomplete. Pass was intended for Keenan Hambrick, the junior.
That was great coverage on the outer half that time by Florida A&M University. They tried to throw the back shoulder fade to the wide receiver, and that coverage was outstanding.
42-21, Alabama A&M knocking at the door. Right now, they need to knock it down.
Yes, sir. The formation is strong to the left side.
Here is the give into the end zone. Donald Eaglin, touchdown, Alabama A&M.
I'm just going to go with the common denominator in this situation. More people to one side usually means that you're probably going to run a play to that side. That time, great job up front by Alabama A&M University to create the lane off of the left side between the left guard and the left tackle for Eaglin to be able to run through and put it up into the end zone for a touchdown.
42-27 now. Here's the extra point try coming up. Extra point is up, and it is good. Well, A&M closes the gap to 2 touchdowns. 42-28 here in the fourth quarter here at Lewis Crew Stadium.
Join the HBCU family. You become part of the tradition of breaking barriers in your community, breaking ground in your career, and bringing it with everything you do. From how you look to how you move in the classroom, on the court, and on the field. That's why Academy Sports and Outdoors is proud to celebrate the HBCU legacy and all those to add to it in their own way.
We are exactly what you think. We are not at all what you think. We are past, present, and future, all in one. Because the best way to honor our history is to make history. General Motors, honored to sponsor the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Doritos created Solid Black in 2021 to help fuel the initiatives of Black leaders seeking to drive real change. And this year, Doritos Solid Black is welcoming 16 new change makers to the program. We are Solid Black.
Huge play coming up.
Wait, talking about dropping the ball.
I got the score.
Only 4 Tostitos Hardy Dippers.
In 1920, an athletic league was formed and slowly became one of the leading sports associations in the world of collegiate athletics, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Today, the SWAC is looking towards the next century, growing, supporting, and transforming our intercollegiate sports activities for student athletes and promoting academic excellence. Each SWAC member institution represents a high level of integrity and sportsmanship. We are the SWAC, building champions for life.
The Alabama A&M Bulldogs, led by that man, Connell Maynard, with a 7-play, 75-yard scoring drive, taking 1:45 off the clock. But now they got to do it twice more in this 13 minutes while the defense is going to have to hold Florida A&M.
What you can't do if you're Alabama A&M in this situation is allow Florida A&M to run 7-8 minutes off the clock like they did on one possession in this football game. So right now, your defense is going to have to step up and make something happen. 3 downs and out, get the ball back, and try to score as quickly as you can.
Here's a kick, and this one goes, it stays in bounds.
Still alive.
It is still a live ball, but now they say it goes out of bounds. Or is down, I should say, inside the 10-yard line. Nearly disastrous for Florida A&M.
Yes, because that ball, if it's a live ball on a kickoff, if you don't pick it up or if you don't take it out of bounds, that's going to be a ball that's going to be recovered by Alabama A&M. Took a funny hop at about the 20-yard line.
And it was finally picked up by Florida A&M, and that's going to be Kamari Young, a 5th-year senior from Tallahassee, who finally picked up that football, and that was nearly disastrous.
You can see the body language on Coach Simmons. Even though his team is ahead, he's still not happy.
And now they got to call a timeout here on their first offensive series here, just coming out after that kickoff. So you had you had a situation where you could have turned the ball over on the kickoff, then the offense comes onto the field, and now they have to call a timeout.
And here's why that timeout was probably called. It took them too long to...
Oh, take a timeout here. Florida A&M with the football. Florida A&M right now on top of Alabama A&M 42-28. There you see the story as far as total yards. Pretty even when you start looking at rushing, passing, and in total yards.
331 for Florida A&M, 317 for the Bulldogs. So offensively, you're looking at both teams pretty comparable with each other.
One of the things that Coach Simmons spoke about is they want to be able to stop the run, and they have done a pretty decent job at that, especially a more run-dominated team with that triple attack that they had. Xavier Langford not in the ball game, and you know that does change the game plan up just a little bit if you're Florida A&M.
Yes, and right there you see where the Florida A&M Rattlers were able to run the ball effectively off the right side. That's the start of being able to chip away at this game, take the clock away, take the air out of Alabama A&M after having such a great drive, just an offensive possession ago.
Here comes a little bit of a rush, and they go right past the running block, and that brings up a big run here for Florida A&M. Credit the run to number 23, Terrell Jennings, and you could see where there was just an over pursuit by the defense.
Out of control. The defensive end that time goes too far up the field, and all Jennings has to do is run underneath, run where they're not, pick up positive yards.
One of the things that that coaches always tell you about is on the over pursuit, angles one, and then don't over pursue. Once you pass the hips of the runner, you can't really do anything.
Nothing that you can do at that particular point. He was too far up the field. He being the defensive end for Alabama A&M, he was so far up the field that he was almost past Jeremy Musa in the backfield.
Here's Musa on the give, and he goes up to about the 30.
It was 13 minutes when we started the possession. Almost right now 3 minutes gone in this quarter.
Yep.
And if you're A&M, you've got to figure out a way to creep more people up in the box and force Florida A&M to throw the ball down the field.
And one of the things they're going to have to do is, just like they did on that play, didn't allow Jennings to get upfield, you know, really stopping them at the point of the attack. But, you know, two things are happening. One, the linemen, they're able to get to the linebackers, and then the over pursuit passing the runner up. And once again, here's the play, and incomplete.
That's a good play. That's a good play for the defense because you were able to put them in a position, put Florida A&M in a position where they had to throw the football, trying to get it out to Pruitt in the flat area. One of the linemen was able to get a hand on that ball and tip it away. So now it actually helps because the clock stops and it works in your favor. You just have to come up now with a big third down stop.
And if you're Florida A&M, you don't want to give the ball back to Alabama A&M. They have momentum after that score that they had. And so you don't want to give the offense an opportunity.
And I'm running the football right here. I'm going to put the pressure on my defense to step up in this football game again.
3rd and 9. And you see Alabama A&M creeping up. Musa nearly losing his footing. Musa goes down. And a big sack for the Alabama A&M Bulldogs.
Good job that time by the front four for Alabama A&M University to get into the backfield. That time, just a good job of working off of the right guard for Alabama A&M.
Jamarian Ellis, the defensive end from Eastman, Georgia, transferred from Georgia State, making that sack. And there you see Coach Willie Simmons talking to Musa, and I'm sure he's telling him, you know, you can't take a sack there.
Not in that situation. Don't take the sack, or better yet, let's run the ball and just keep the clock rolling.
Punting situation here for Florida A&M. And it comes down to the Bulldogs at about the 34-yard line, where it'll be 1st down and 10.
Here's why taking that sack was very bad, because now when you're ready to punt the football, you're in a deeper situation. You give up field position. Even though you flip the field, you still give up field positioning to Alabama A&M, who just had a very potent drive.
That's right. Yeah, the other thing that ended up happening is that on one of the double team blocks that Florida A&M had in that running game, they were not able to brush off the block to get to the linebackers. Here's Casey back to pass, and he takes a sack.
Well, Casey went down very funny, and there's a little pushing and shoving going on. That's the second time big number 76 has lost his hat.
Carson Vincent loses his hat once again.
He'll have to come out of play. Wasn't a great snap. Casey had to pick the ball up off of the ground. And that's something that, as a quarterback, you definitely have to go to your center and say, hey, man, you cannot put that ball on the ground. And then at the very end, you see Vincent.
Looked like he got his helmet torn off. Nonetheless, it looks like you have to come out for a play.
For one play.
Casey looking, incomplete. Pass was intended for Keenan Hambrick. And that brings up 3rd down and 10.
It's something that we didn't mention in the pregame or throughout the course of this game, but anytime that there's a long 3rd down situation, Florida A&M will go to 4 defensive ends. It's what they call the NASCAR package, bringing in speed guys to put pressure on the quarterback in this situation.
Well, it is 3rd down and long, 3rd and 15 now, as a matter of fact. Here's Casey looking. It's complete. Ooh. And they're going to be short of the 1st down. He got it out to Keenan Hambrick, but just short.
Here's a question. How short are you? And then with it only being 9 minutes left to go in the game, do you think about going for it?
Well, we'll have to see. It looks like there's a timeout on the field, and there's an injured Florida A&M Rattler. And down on the field for FAMU is John Graves III, the defensive lineman from Lancaster, Texas, transferred from Southeast.
You know, I'm glad that you said that correctly.
Lancaster.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes. Because if you say it any other way over here, you are criticized.
That's just like you say humble.
Yes. Yet if you say anything else, I promise you people will jump on you.
Yeah.
Trying to see exactly what they're working on. It's a host of people.
It looks like he is up now.
I'm sure Coach Maynard's group is definitely talking about what play they want to run in this situation.
Good news is he is up, and it looks like he is up on his own. Coach is coming over to make sure he's okay. It looks like is he holding his arm?
I want to say it's his left elbow. It's kind of hard to see right now, but he is in immense pain.
Looks like he's holding maybe his other arm. Yeah.
Right arm.
But he is definitely not happy as he threw his helmet in disgust, not happy about having to come out of the game.
4th and short now.
They say they want to do the wave, but you got to do the chant for the wave.
And it looks like A&M said Alabama A&M is going to go for it here on 4th down.
It's only the 2nd or 3rd time that we've seen empty formation. So you want one-on-one somewhere.
Alabama A&M is 7 for 17 on 4th downs coming into the ball game, and they will try to do what they can in order to draw Florida A&M off sides.
I want to say they're one of the better conversion teams on 4th down.
Casey will take off with the football. Casey looks like he'll get the 1st down.
Wow. Pressure in his face. Casey knew he couldn't go anywhere with that football. Tucks it and picks up the 1st down. It looks like his right hand may be hurting just a little bit.
Yeah, we know that Xavier Langford, he had to come out because of his wrist. And it looked like that Casey may have smacked his wrist on the way down. And now it'll be 1st down and 10 here for Alabama A&M. Casey looking. Casey complete. And that goes out to Terrell Gardner, the wide receiver from Birmingham, went to Ramsey High School. You know, something interesting about the A&M and the Alabama State game last week, no school in the city of Birmingham on Friday.
Well, that's the way it should be.
Incomplete.
Oh, that's in your hands. That's one you have to catch. It keeps the drive going for your offensive unit. Little quick slant. Well, I see why he probably dropped it, because it's like Isaiah Majors was waiting on him, but you still have to try to make that play. Now, you might leave with a broken collarbone, but you still have to make the play.
Outer third of the field in the sun and the other 2/3 in the shade makes a little bit of difference when you're passing from one side to the other.
And it also affects how the receivers see the ball coming out of the quarterback's hand as well.
Here's Casey.
Plenty of time.
And he goes to the sunny side of the field, incomplete.
Flags come in.
So one official didn't throw the flag, the other one did, and that's going to be pass interference.
Big 15-yard penalty for the Bulldogs. It's going to give them a first down, and with plenty of time still left on the clock.
And boy, what a great job the Buffet Busters did up front. And yeah, you can definitely see the pass interference. He grabbed the jersey.
You can see that these guys are doing a good job of protecting Casey, keeping the Dark Cloud defense from being able to get in the backfield. You're talking about Buffet Busters, and you got Tusk Hogs on the other side of the football field.
Well, it's just a lot going on. It is first down and 10 now after the 15-yard penalty, and this time the Florida A&M defense ready.
And Vincent's helmet came off again.
That is the third time his helmet has come off.
I'm saying at this particular point, I'm talking to the trainers or to the equipment staff, get him a different chin strap. Because right now we're going to need him in the football game. He's a difference maker.
Or you got to tighten that chin strap, one or the other. Casey goes down.
Face mask.
Yeah. Definitely going to the face, and you can see the Florida A&M defender banging his hands against the ground, knowing he committed that infraction. And that's going to be, it looks like, Anthony Dunn Jr., the sophomore from Sanford, Florida, transferred from Marshall.
I'm from the country, and via that I'm from the country, I have seen chickens get their necks wrung. This is as close to getting your neck wrung as you could possibly have it happen to you in a football game.
Well, it cost them 15 yards and another first down for Alabama A&M.
And when something like that happens to a player, you have to start thinking about what does that do to the neck? You know, what kind of injury can they sustain in that situation? Thank God Casey's able to stay in this ball game, but that's always a dangerous thing to have happen or to see your quarterback or any player brought down by the face mask.
A little bit of a delay while they get everything set. We look at the offense here for Alabama A&M. Casey now 17 of 34, 50%, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Eaglin now has 61 yards and a touchdown. And Hewitt, 6 catches, 98 yards and a touchdown. This is a big one here. A&M needs a score. We are halfway through the fourth quarter. Casey looking incomplete, and a flag on the play.
Double move put on by the wide receiver that time, and it forced the defensive back who was in man-to-man coverage to reach out and grab, and the defensive back is not happy. He's saying that he was the one that was interfered with.
Well, we'll see what the official says here in just a second. You saw the penalties for FAMU, 10 penalties, 94 yards. You can tackle another 15 after this one.
It's going to be half the distance to the goal.
And that pass interference. Eric Smith, defensive back from Opelika, Florida.
Double move.
Yeah, you can see it.
See it. It was obvious, painfully obvious.
And it does make a difference when you're passing from the shade and now to that quarter of the field out there in the sun, because you're trying to look at that a little different to see where that ball is.
Not happy. I was the one that was caught. I was the one that was grabbed.
And we got an injured Florida A&M player coming off the field, and that's going to be Anthony Dunn Jr., one of the big defensive linemen coming out of the ball game, and he had to have help coming off of the field, and that could be a big loss here for Florida A&M.
Very much so. But here's the other thing. Again, Florida A&M University has depth at defensive line. You know, so if you lose somebody at this particular point, yes, it can hurt, but when you have a guy that can step in right behind that guy that's just as good, you're not hurting as bad.
Or they say next man up. Casey looking, trying to find someone in the end zone. Incomplete, no flag. No, there's the flag. Flag comes out late, and this one is going to be charged to, it looks like, Deco Wilson, the senior from Talladega.
Here's the question. if you're the defensive back, are you definitely, if you're Coach Simmons, you're probably saying incidental contact, because there was a lot of bodies and everything going on. It didn't appear to be a pass interference, but let's see what the officials call it.
I think they're going to say no pass interference on that play. Yep, second down.
Incidental contact.
Casey with the handoff. And there's a push. And the push will go to about the 1 yard line. Eaglin on the carry, and that's what you call a tush push.
Well, Eaglin is doing all the pushing because he's pushing everybody that has a tush in front of him. Good run, solid run. But when you're 2 yards out, if you're those big buffet busters up front, you got to get lower than the guy in front of you, and you got to drive them from Huntsville all the way to Birmingham. Turn up.
And nothing doing here on third down. Something else that's going on, you can tell on the line just on that particular play. You had a couple of linemen who were caught in striding instead of putting their feet into the ground and driving.
And that's what happens when that lateral movement happens. When you're moving laterally and you're not getting up the field, as an offensive group, the one thing that you have to be able to do, all your guys have to be moving at the same time, moving in the same direction. And when your foot is caught in cement and you're stepping in the same spot, you allow the defense to flow down the line of scrimmage like they did and make the defensive stop.
Fourth down, big play here. Casey is taken down at about the 10 or 11 yard line, and Florida A&M will take over here with just a little over 6 minutes remaining, and that is a key play, key drive where they could not score.
Good job that time by the dark cloud defense. You have a man that's open and you just got to throw that ball. Casey held it just a little too long.
And now for Alabama A&M, a big scoring opportunity gone by the wayside. And we have to mark that down. 6:16 remaining on 4th and goal. A&M doesn't score here. And now with Florida A&M, you get the ball back.
And now all you have to do is be able to put a consistent drive together.
Yep.
Get a couple of first downs.
And remember, the last scoring drive that they had was over 7 minutes long. A&M does have 2 timeouts remaining. FAMU with 2 timeouts remaining. They're just going to try to keep the ball in the field of play.
You see 8 men close to the line of scrimmage now.
Here's the pass downfield, and it is incomplete. Shareed was the intended receiver.
Because there was 8 men in the box that time, you had one-on-one coverage on the outer half, so you take a chance on getting a big play. I don't know. Yeah, the clock should have stopped. That was an incomplete pass, so.
Clock keeps going.
Oh, well.
Here is the give. And out to about the 20-yard line.
Is that Jennings running the football? Well, if it is, he's doing a very good job.
Musa.
This should be 3rd down, right?
I think it should be 3rd down.
It's going to be, 3rd and short.
Clock continues to run. 5 minutes left to go in the ball game. Here's the push. Out to about the 23, maybe the 24-yard line.
Is it enough for a first down?
Well, that clock continues not to be Alabama A&M's friend.
It is not, and especially when you had an opportunity, you had a perfect opportunity, 1st and goal from the 2-yard line, and you could not punch it in.
Now 4.5 remaining. I think the clock finally stopped.
It would be all run plays from this point on out.
I think they may have heard you, but this time A&M right there to stop the Rattlers. On the carry for Florida A&M was Jack was Yant.
He had 40 seconds in between each play. I'm telling Musa, you do not snap this ball until that clock gets to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens. Do not snap the football until the clock gets down to 5 seconds. And that's every time.
Yep. You're under 4 now, and so, as long as you're getting first downs, that's what matters.
And even if I don't get the first down right now, there's no way Alabama A&M mathematically could come back.
Here is the give. This one to Shareed. Gets out beyond the 20, and a little bit of some pleasantries being shared. Shareed did a good job of just turning it up the field.
Positive yards. Now, of course, I said that there's no way, but I believe Alabama A&M called a timeout.
3:16 left to go here in this ball game. They call a timeout. We'll step aside as well. Second timeout of the half for the Bulldogs. Back here in Huntsville, Alabama, the Alabama A&M Bulldogs trail. Take a look at the SWAC scoreboard presented by Pepsi. Alcorn right now, a commanding 41-14 lead over Southern University. That's the score that everybody's watching in the West right now. Prairie View on top of Pine Bluff. It's homecoming there, 24-7. Jackson on top of Texas Southern, 21-7. And early on at the end of the first quarter, Hornets on top of Grambling, 7-0. Grambling's got to take care of their own business there, but they are definitely scoreboard watching over in Lorman.
And that's the one thing that you definitely hate to do when you're actually on that side, is to actually sit there and watch the score, because right now Alcorn State has a commanding lead and it doesn't look like they're going to relinquish it anytime soon.
.325 left. It's first down. Here's Musa. Throws, and it is complete.
And I think A&M called their final timeout.
I think they did call their final timeout. So if that is A&M calling their timeout, that's it for them.
Which means with 3:17 remaining, you will have to score immediately.
Yep.
Then you'll have to come out and get another defensive stop. Now, whether or not that's possible in this situation, which we can say if you score, it is. But time then becomes a pressing issue for you, and you have no timeouts to stop the clock.
Well, for Florida A&M, they just want to continue to run the clock out here. And again, if that was A&M's final timeout, which I believe they did take that, then what you don't want, this will be a punting situation here.
Two things: if you're going to punt block, you want to make sure that you get close enough where you can get to the punter. But two, if you don't get to him, you do not want to rough the kicker.
So this one will take a bounce out to about the 40-yard line, and the runner will be tackled at about the 38. And that'll be a first down for Alabama A&M at that point with 3:04 remaining here in the ball game.
Right now, if you're Alabama A&M, all you want to do is to try to get chunk plays. So every play that you get is going to have to be big chunks and then hustle to the line of scrimmage. Everything is going to have to be on the rhythm. Everything's going to be going.
Timeout on the field, 3:04 remaining in the game. Swag Football on ESPN is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods and outdoor retailer of the Swag. By the Home Depot, proud sponsor of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and by Nike. 42-28 the score, 3:08 remaining here in the ball game, and of course for A&M, it's late in the evening.
Yes, the sun is almost down, and you have to make a determination on exactly what you're going to do coming out of this timeout. How big a chunk do you want to try to get on this first down play?
Casey, boy, he's got all day passing the ball. He takes off with the football and goes out of bounds.
Did he get the first down? It's going to be the question. Because he had plenty of room. Florida A&M University had 8 men back in coverage, so they weren't giving up the chunk play. They would allow the quarterback to run and pick up the first down.
Casey back to pass. And he gets it out to about the 46-yard line.
Everybody needs to be hustling to the ball if you're Alabama A&M. Looks like there's still a lot of walking around.
A&M in the hurry-up offense, obviously. And Casey is sacked at about the 47-yard line. Not what you wanted to. And on the sack for Edwards. Dakar Edwards, the graduate student from Staten Island, New York.
Did a great job of getting the pressure right up the middle of the field in the face of Casey.
And again, for A&M, they get back on the other side of the 50, but time is ticking. Casey shotgun, 5 receivers set. Casey going deep, looking for the receiver, incomplete.
He went deep middle that time. And usually coaches will tell you that you don't throw deep middle at the end of halves or at the end of games. Not sure exactly who he was trying to go to on that particular pass play. Usually you attack the perimeter of the defense.
And you can see Hambrick trying to navigate the traffic that's going on and who's got who.
Mm-hmm.
Casey back to pass. And Casey goes down.
Good pressure right up the middle of the football field again by one of the big defensive linemen for Florida A&M University. Did a great job of getting off of the guard and getting the sack. And that's the second time in this football game that Casey has taken a sack on a 4th down play.
Yep, and so now Florida A&M takes over 1st down and 10, and that'll just about wrap it up here for the Rattlers and Bulldogs. You see Coach Willie Simmons, he has his headset off, which usually means that this one is in the books.
You know, Coach Simmons coming into this game, Santori, I believe, had a record overall of 54-23 as a head coach. Now moves to 55-23 overall, extends his streak in the conference to 14 games with a win today. When you have over a winning percentage of right at 70-something%, that tells you that this guy knows one thing: how to win.
How to win, absolutely. And you know, here's the other thing, and we spoke with him about that. He said we have a program where we have a standard of excellence.
Yes.
And in that standard of excellence, not everybody is going to fit into the program. Just because you're a good football player or you're talented doesn't mean you'll fit into the program.
And he also talked about, excellence. He talked about, the goal is perfection.
Yep.
That's what they're looking for. And he says, in order for this team to be that type of team that's going to be a perfection-based team, they have to understand it's process-driven and not result-driven.
That's right. As a matter of fact, he said that is the motto: chase perfection. We talked a lot today about just making sure that this team has to be able to keep their head on. And, look, Musa has taken criticism throughout the course of this year. He's taken a lot of criticism. And one of the things that he told him about is you just have to have good, tough skin, a good mental approach, and you can't worry about it. And look, he's, a 2-time SWAC Player of the Week, and he is our player of the game.
You can't say enough about Jeremy Musa, because so goes Jeremy Musa, so goes this Florida A&M University offense. And today, Musa did a good job of keeping his team in this football game, of making sure that they were able to win this football game. He didn't do anything to lose it. He managed the game well.
And that's all you can ask for. And, of course, let's take a look at today's player of the game presented by Gatorade. It's Jeremy Musa. And Musa, he 14-27, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And, man, you talk about managing the game. He was able to do so. And almost 52% passing the football. And when he found those receivers open, they were able to make something happen after the catch.
It's because they have rack boys on this team. The run after the catch is absolutely imperative for Florida A&M University to be a successful football team.
Absolutely. Final score, 42-28. So for Ossie Clark, I'm Santoria Black saying so long from Huntsville, where the final is 42-21 in favor of the Rattlers, who remain undefeated in conference play. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.
Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus Originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus Originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus Originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus Originals.